Welcome to the fantasy audiobook, Man in Pirates, the beginning of the interception of the surgery fruit. Chapter 61. In addition to being very tall, this giant also has a long beard. Are you Aoki Dongli? Lin En saw the long beard of this giant and recognized Qingli's identity. Qingli was one of the captains of the giant pirates who roamed the sea 100 years ago. He argued with another captain, Red Ghost, Brocky, because a little girl asked who hunted the bigger prey. In the end, the two of them decided to duel to decide the winner, and started a 100-year duel in the small garden. It was precisely because the giant pirates had no captain that the giant pirates disappeared. Originally, the giant pirates were still waiting for them to decide the winner and take them to dominate the sea again, but these two giants dueled here for 100 years but never decided the winner. I haven't walked on the sea for hundreds of years. You actually know me. Hearing that Lin En actually called out his name, Dongli's eyes flashed with surprise. At Lin En's age, it is impossible for him to have heard of his own affairs. But this is a small matter, Dongli didn't care about these small details. You came just in time, you can help me witness whose prey is longer this time, me or Brocky. Dongli laughed at Lin En and his group. Lin En and others only then discovered that Dongli was dragging an unknown dinosaur that was 30 or 40 meters long in his hand. What a big prey, this is the first time I've seen such a big beast. Baby 5 exclaimed at this time, which instantly satisfied Dongli's vanity. This prey tastes very good, I can treat you to barbecue later. Dongli laughed at Lin En and his group. Lin En had just consumed a lot of food, so he naturally wouldn't refuse Dong's invitation. With Dongli's earth-shaking footsteps, Lin En and the other four followed him into the small garden. Brocky, look at the prey I caught this time my prey must be bigger than yours. Dongli also threw the prey in his hand and shouted to the woods. Dongli, stop bragging, when have you ever beaten me? A hearty laugh came, and a giant with a horned helmet and a yellow beard walked out of the woods. Lin En found that the giant was dragging a huge triceratops in his hand, and the size of this triceratops was no smaller than Dongli's prey. Boom! Brocky threw the triceratops in front of Dongli's prey. Ga bang bang bang, it seems that there is no winner again. Looking at the prey of almost the same size, Brocky laughed. He, then let's use our barbecue skills to decide the winner. This time, Lin En and his friends are on the island, so let them be the referees. Dongli showed Lin En and the other four behind him, and said to Brocky. A new friend has arrived on the island. Then I'll trouble you this time. Brocky laughed heartily at Lin En. The giants are never stingy with their friends. I'm looking forward to the giants' delicacies. I have some wine here, which can be enjoyed with the barbecue. Lin En opened the operating space, and he snapped his fingers, and the wine in the cabin suddenly appeared in front of the two giants. It turns out that you are a powerful fruit ability user, Lin En. When the two giants saw what Lin En showed, their eyes were filled with joy. For the warriors who ventured on the sea, wine is an indispensable thing for them. Dongli and Brocky had not left the island for a long time, and they had finished their wine long ago. Seeing the mountains of wine in front of Lin En, they started to barbecue directly. Soon, the two dragons turned into fragrant barbecue, and Lin En, Dongli and Brocky began to drink. The taste of their barbecue was the same, because their barbecue ingredients had been eaten up decades ago. The reason why the barbecue was so delicious was that the meat of these dinosaurs was delicious. Is this the food of the giants? It's really delicious. Baby 5 was eating a piece of barbecue that was bigger than her body, with a happy smile on her face. This meat seems to contain rich energy. The nutrition of this piece of barbecue is 10 times that of other prey of the same size. Guina carefully felt the changes in her body. After eating the barbecue, it turned into heat flow, and her physical strength increased slightly. Their reaction was like this, not to mention Lin En. At this time, Lin En controlled the peristalsis of his intestines through the operation fruit to quickly eliminate the barbecue, and his physical strength was also recovering rapidly. Obviously, Lin En's body was stronger than the two. The giant was much smaller than the other two, but he ate the barbecue faster than the two giants. We can't be outdone. Dongli and Brocky looked at each other and quickened their eating pace. The glory of the warriors made them integrate competition into every aspect of their lives. For a while, this place became a competition among three big eaters. I didn't expect that your appetite is even bigger than ours in the giant tribe, Lin En. You will definitely be a strong warrior in the future. Donley, Brokey and Lin En were lying flat on their backs. Donley and Brokey said to Lin En, "There is a theorem in this sea that the strength of the physique is proportional to the appetite. The stronger the physique of the monster, the more food it eats. Lin En's appetite has already given him the foundation to become a strong man." Boom boom boom. Lin En was about to speak when a deafening sound interrupted his words. "Lin En, the volcano on the island has begun to erupt." Reiju retracted her gaze and said to Lin En. The volcanic eruption seemed to be a signal. The eyes of Dongley and Brokey suddenly became sharp, and then they both stood up and picked up their weapons at the same time. Here it comes, the duel between Dongley and Brokey. Lin En looked at Dongley holding a long sword and Brokey holding an axe and shield, and his eyes showed a hint of expectation. The strength of these two giants is considered strong among the giants. Perhaps Lin En can learn some of the giants' fighting skills from them. "Donley, I will definitely defeat you this time." Brokey tapped the shield lightly with an axe, and he said confidently. "Me too, Brokey." The weapons of the two giants collided violently, and the aftermath of their attack actually caused a violent storm here. Lin En used the fruit ability to wrap both of them in, and at this time, their every move was in Lin En's eyes. The two giants also noticed the abnormality, but when they saw that it was Lin En, and they didn't feel that the operating space had any effect on them, they let Lin En use the operating space. Because Dongley and Brokey were both 20 meters away, every move and style of theirs was full of great destructive power. This scene was like two tall humanoids fighting. Although their fight looked wild, they actually had a very delicate control over their strength. Otherwise, with their destructive power, this island would probably be razed to the ground after 3 battles. They have been fighting on this island for more than 100 years, and this island has not experienced terrible destruction, which is the most terrifying thing. There are many people with powerful strength in this sea, but few can control their strength to such a delicate degree. Kuina's eyes were fixed on the battle between the two giants, and she could also learn a lot from the battle between the two giants. In addition to the confrontation of combat skills, the physical distribution and fighting skills they showed in the battle made Lin En feel that he had gained a lot. Lin En had only learned swordsmanship, and his combat experience was not rich. Compared with these two giants who had been honing their physical skills every day for 100 years, Lin En seemed too weak in this regard. With the on-site teaching of the two giants, Lin En's practical experience has increased rapidly. The two giants fought with all their strength, and they fought from noon to sunset in the evening. In the end, the two actually fell down at the same time, panting. Bang, bang, bang. Baby 5, who had transformed into Mark armor, came back dragging a huge dinosaur. Almost at the same time, Kuina also came here dragging a dinosaur. Donley, Brokey, thank you for your care at noon, and leave dinner to us. Lin En watched Baby 5 skillfully handle the prey, and he smiled at the two giants. When he had just left Mignon Island, in order to strengthen his physique, Baby 5 roasted almost all the beasts on an island for Lin En. It was during that time that Baby 5 almost maxed out the skill of barbecue. Then I'll leave it to you. The two giants looked at Lin En and said in unison. Unlike the two giants who grilled the dinosaurs, Baby 5 used almost all the barbecue ingredients on the ship on the bodies of the two dinosaurs to make the two prey taste better. This also made the two giants feel very satisfied. They haven't eaten such barbecue for a long time. Lin, if you have the opportunity to come to our Elbaf, we will treat you to the giants' cuisine. Our volcanic cuisine is very famous. It is a cuisine made with the flames of volcanic fire as the stove. Dongley said to Lin, I will definitely try the volcanic cuisine. Lin smiled at Dongley. Dongley, Brokey, let's have a fight later. After eating the barbecue, Lin took the initiative to invite Dongley and Brokey to fight. The two giants have never been afraid of any challenge. When they heard that Lin wanted to fight with them, they decisively agreed. Dongley was the first to fight with Lin. Dongley was more than 20 meters tall, while Lin was only more than 2 meters tall. The extreme height difference between the two made this battle feel very inconsistent. Wait a minute, Dongley. Lin En opened the surgical space, and then he controlled the osteoblasts and calcium in his body to rush into his body. The next moment, the bones in Lin En's body grew wildly, and a white bone giant as tall as Dongli appeared in front of Dongli. Dongli, now we can fight. Lin En's voice came from the white bone giant. The white bone giant that Lin En transformed into was not only the same size as Dongli, but also the white bone sword and round shield in his hand were exactly the same as Dongli's. Lin En, your devil fruit development is really wonderful. Dongli saw that Lin En had developed this superhuman surgical fruit into an ability similar to the animal system, and he couldn't help but praise it. Now that the two have similar body shapes, they can have a good fight. Lin En raised the long sword in his hand and took the lead in attacking Dongli, and Dongli used the round shield in his hand to block Lin En's long sword. Ding, ding, ding. Almost instantly, the bone sword in Lin En's hand and the long sword of Dongli made a sound. Strange, why do I feel that Lin En is using Dongli's fighting skills? Brocky rubbed his eyes, he felt as if he was dazzled. If he closed his eyes, in his perception of the domineering color of observation, these were two Dongli fighting. Lin En used all Dongli's fighting skills, and Lin En's fighting skills were actually more accurate than Dongli's. Lin En, can your fruit ability also copy my moves? Brocky outside the field could feel it, not to mention Dongli who was fighting with Lin En. Dongli felt it more clearly, he felt like he was fighting against himself. It was obvious that Lin En had copied all his physical skills. It's not the ability of the fruit. When you were fighting with Brocky just now, I remembered all your moves. Lin En shook his head. You can remember all the moves after watching them once, and you can use them exactly. What kind of monster is this? Brocky couldn't help but cry out. If Lin En can really do what he said, in addition to having extraordinary eyesight, he must also have a strong physique. The most important thing is to have absolute control over the body. Dongli fought with Lin En for a while, but he couldn't do anything to Lin En. Let me try, Dongli. Brocky saw that Dongli was no longer in his peak state, and he was already itching to replace Dongli directly. Dongli also wanted to see what Brocky could do, so he left the battle circle. When Brocky came to Lin, he found that the size and weapons of the bone giant in front of him had been adjusted. The giant seemed to have turned into Brocky. Sure enough, he also learned Brocky's fighting skills. Dongli saw this scene, and his eyes showed understanding. Since Lin had such a perverted ability, he couldn't just learn his own abilities. Ga ba ba ba, let me see how strong my own fighting skills are. Brocky laughed loudly and swung an axe at Lin. The battle between the two began instantly, and Lin changed his fighting style directly. His fighting style was exactly the same as Brocky's. It's a pity that Lin is not our giant, otherwise with his terrifying talent, he will definitely become the king of the giants. Dongli looked at Lin who was fighting with Brocky, and he couldn't help but sighed. Lin En is indeed a very strong man. When Baby 5 heard Dongli praising Lin En, she also puffed out her chest and looked very proud. No, the moves are exactly the same, I can't break them. Brocky has used all his skills, but Lin En can not only replicate them completely, but also apply them flexibly. The result of Brocky's challenge was the same as Dongli's. Facing his own replica, Brocky was unable to defeat Lin. It's incredible. Lin, your body is so small, but you have as much power as ours. Dongli and Brocky sighed at the same time. If Lin had only copied the fighting skills of the giants, Dongli and Brocky would have told them what it means to defeat 10 with one force. But Lin's power is also so strong, which is a bit incredible. It's just a little surgery on my body, Lin said modestly. I always thought that the surgery fruit was used to treat diseases, but I didn't expect that this fruit would have such an outrageous bonus to combat. As pirates who roamed the sea 100 years ago, they had also heard of the surgery fruit. A fruit used to treat diseases gave Lin such an ability, which made them feel amazed. Later, Kuina challenged Dongli, who used a long sword. Her strength was not as good as Dongli, but her swordsmanship was also greatly praised by Dongli. This is the happiest night that the Lin pirates have spent on the Grand Line. As the sky brightens, the Lin pirates are ready to set off again. Lin, it seems that the island-eating monster is still in the sea. Baby 5 looked at the dark sea in front of her and said to Lin. The scene in front of her was the same as yesterday. It was obvious that the island-eating monster was very vengeful and had been waiting for Lin, who had heard it, to go out to sea again. If we are swallowed again, we may not be able to return to the sea again. Guina looked at the sea and she also felt embarrassed. Her swordsmanship was too weak. If her strength was strong enough, perhaps she could cut off the huge island-eating monster with one sword. Don't be afraid, just sail, and leave the rest to us. Donley and Brokey looked at Lin and his group and laughed. Go to sea. After hearing what Donley and Brokey said, Lin decisively moved the ship to the sea. At this time, the island-eating monster had already seen Lin's ship, and it was rising rapidly. Seeing that Lin trusted them so much, Donley and Brokey smiled at Lin again and said, Lin, let me show you our Elbaf fusion skills. The weapons in their hands were raised high, and the terrifying aura emanated from them. At this time, the huge island-eating monster jumped out of the water again, and Lin and the others also saw the full picture of this huge goldfish. Elbaf Bagwo. Donley and Brokey roared at the same time, and Lin saw a terrifying big hole on the body of this huge goldfish. At the same time, a terrifying thrust made the speed of the ship of the Lin pirates reach an incredible level. It's faster than the surging sea current we encountered at the upside-down mountain. Looking at the rapidly retreating sea surface, Baby 5 exclaimed. Such a powerful blow hurt the Sea King without hurting us. How did they do it? Kuina was even more shocked. She had heard her father talk about this realm. Sometimes a swordsman can cut steel with his swordsmanship, but sometimes a sword can't even cut a piece of paper. Kuina believed in the previous realm, but she thought the latter realm was bragging. Is there any need for a sword that can't even cut paper? But after seeing the sword of Donley and Brokey, Kuina vaguely understood the realm that Koshiro was talking about. The power is enough to turn everything within hundreds of kilometers into dust, and at the same time avoid the target that you don't want to hurt. This is the strongest strength of Donley and Brokey. Lin An, can you copy this move? When the small garden was about to disappear from their sight, the voices of Donley and Brokey suddenly came from Lin An's side. Of course, Lin An smiled. Shanks's Divine Retreat and Tonley and Brokey's Bagwo are all large-scale attacks. Lin An had long guessed that the two of them would use Bagwo to help them, and he had already used the operating space to observe the way they exerted their strength. Although this is a combination skill, Lin An believes that one person can also release it. After all, Charlotte Linlin can use the Spear of Elbaf, Weo, and Lin An can also use similar skills. After the battle with Tonley and Brokey last night, Lin An has a basic understanding of the giant's combat skills. Reiju, use Den Den Mushi to contact Judge. I want to know the current situation of Nico Robin. When the Bagwo's propulsion to their ship disappeared, Lin An said to Reiju. Nico Robin is the crew member he is interested in. It's fine that he couldn't find Nico Robin before. Now that Nico Robin appeared on the same route as him, there was no reason for him not to let Nico Robin on board. Reiju called Judge, but when she got Judge's answer, a strange look appeared on her face. Lin, my father said that Nico Robin was captured by the Navy. Reiju said to Lin, Judge, didn't Nico Robin sneak into Alabasta? How could she have a conflict with the Navy? Lin took the Den Den Mushi from Reiju's hand, and he talked directly to Judge. Lin, this is what happened. After Judge's explanation, Lin roughly understood what happened. Nico Robin went for the historical text preserved in Alabasta. Coincidentally, Sand Crocodile's target was also this historical text. Sand Crocodile got information that this historical text recorded the information of Hades, one of the three great weapons in ancient legends. He wanted to use Pluto to defeat the world's strongest man, Whitebeard, and become the Pirate King. Crocodile founded Baroque Studio and has been catching pirates in Alabasta as a national hero. Alabasta has long been run by him to form a sophisticated intelligence network. Nico Robin has not found the historical text yet, and she was besieged by Baroque Studio. Judge also passed the image in the armor used by Nico Robin to Lin An. The cadres of Baroque Studio were beaten and fled under the powerful firepower of the armor, and only Crocodile had the strength to fight. Crocodile's sand fruit can make his body elemental, and Nico Robin's attack is completely ineffective against Crocodile. Their battle was too fierce, and the navy around Alabasta was immediately alarmed. 3 armors flew here, and the one leading them was Kurokan Hina. Nico Robin lacked combat experience, and Hina imprisoned Nico Robin with the ability of the Kankan fruit as soon as she appeared. Afterwards, when Nico Robin ran out of ammunition, Hina captured her. Crocodile Sand has experienced the horror of armor. Facing the 3 armors of the Navy, he cannot snatch Nico Robin from the Navy. Isn't Hina a Navy captain? She actually has the right to equip armor. Is the world government so rich? After watching this video, Lin En couldn't help but complain. The Navy currently has 30 armors, and the users are basically brigadiers. There are only 2 Navy colonels who use armor in the Navy. Hina Kuroki is one, and the other is Smoker, the user of the smoke fruit. Yesterday was the first time Hina used armor in actual combat. The other 2 armors were brigadiers who instructed her. Judge has all the information about the Navy's armor, and he directly told all that information. This is on the surface. According to Judge's estimation, the world government also has completely modified armors that Judge cannot monitor. Where is Nico Robin now? Lin asked again. Nicole Robin has left the armor now. I can't know her exact whereabouts, but the 3 armors of the Navy are now in the port of Alabasta. Judge answered again. Keep a close eye on Nicole Robin's movements. If she makes any unusual movements, report to me immediately. After Lin En finished speaking, he hung up the Den Den Mushi. Target Alabasta, move forward. Lin En handed the Den Den Mushi to Reiju, and Baby 5 commanded the armored soldiers of Germa to control the large ship towards Alabasta. At the port of Alabasta, Nicole Robin was taken to the cabin with seastone handcuffs and shackles. In front of Nicole Robin, there were 4 Navy soldiers guarding her the whole time. With her strength, she couldn't have been treated like this. But she was the only surviving scholar in O'Hara, and the only one who could possibly unlock the blank 100 years. When the world government learned that Hinai had captured Nico Robin, they directly ordered Hinai to escort Nico Robin to Judicial Island to face the world government's just trial. Is my journey over here? Nicole Robin looked at the dim cabin in front of her, and a hint of self-mockery flashed in her eyes. Ever since she was 8 years old, O'Hara was wiped out from the sea by the world government's demon-slaying order, and she has been hiding like a rat. Because of her bounty, she would always be betrayed even if she worked in secret. After learning that Germa had published the armor design, as a scholar, she immediately realized that this revolutionary weapon was about to subvert the sea. Although Nicole Robin is a devil fruit user, she is not good at fighting, and this armor makes up for her shortcomings. This is why she dared to set foot on the Grand Line. But she didn't expect the Navy to be equipped with this kind of armor so quickly, and she was caught by the Navy as soon as she met it. I just want to know the history, but my dream has too many enemies. Looking at the gloomy cell, Nicole Robin showed a bitter smile. For someone like her, I'm afraid no one wants her to live, right? The world government wants to kill her, the pirates want to kill her, and the bounty hunters want to kill her. She has been too tired for so many years. Now that she has been captured, her life should be coming to an end. The world government will never allow people like her to live. Moreover, people like her have no friends, and no one will come to save her. Swish. With a sound that makes people feel sour, Nicole Robin saw 10 bright scratches on the side wall of the cabin in front of her. The next moment, a big hole appeared here. When the Navy guarding Nicole Robin saw the tall bald man outside the big hole, they shot at the man directly. Paw, paw, paw. The bullets sparked as they hit the man's body. The man's body seemed to be harder than iron. How is this possible? The soldiers were stunned by the scene. Before they could fire again, several bright lights appeared in the dim cabin. The chests of the soldiers were cut open by the man, and they fell to the ground one after another. A devil fruit user. Nicole Robin looked at the man's arms and fingers that turned into blades. She guessed that this was the man's fruit ability. Nicole Robin, come with me, the boss wants to see you. The man looked at the woman locked in seastone shackles and said calmly. He is Mr. 1, the chief command agent of Baroque Studio. Crocodile Fish asked him to snatch Nico Robin back. Although Crocodile has not figured out where Cobra has hidden the historical text of Pluto, he knows that when he finds the historical text, he needs Nico Robin to interpret it for him. Who are you, and who is the boss you are talking about? Nico Robin asked the man, but the man did not speak. He did not help Nico Robin to unlock the shackles, and he motioned Nico Robin to follow him. Are you Crocodile's subordinate? You dare to come here to kill the Navy? Hina is very angry. A female Navy with long pink hair and a rose-red professional suit appeared here. Before the man turned around to see Hina's hands turned into black railings and closed towards him. Jung. The man's arms turned into blades, and Hina's railings were cut off by him in an instant. What kind of ability is this? It can actually cut off the black fence I made. When Tina saw this scene, her eyes showed a hint of surprise. I am a blade man who ate the superhuman fast-cutting fruit. Your railings can't imprison me. Mr. One turned his fingers and arms into blades and said to Hina. It seems to be a bit tricky. As Hina said, she actually jumped directly onto the deck. Before Mr. One could react to what happened, an armor flew up from the deck. Swish! A small missile appeared on the left arm of the armor, and the missile was fired directly at Mr. One. Mr. One looked at the missile in front of him calmly. When the missile was about to hit him, Mr. One directly released a similar slashing move to chop at the missile in front of him. Boom! A ball of fire directly engulfed his body, and even Nico Robin was blown away by the violent explosion. The two armors that had not been seen appeared in front of Nico Robin, and Nico Robin's arms were clamped by the two armors. Ha! A sandstorm blew from the depths of the desert, and everything here turned into a yellowish earth color. When the sandstorm subsided, Mr. One was gone. Fortunately, Nico Robin was not taken away by the sand crocodile. We can't stay here any longer, we need to rush to Judicial Island as soon as possible. Hina took a look at the desert that had receded, and she brought Nico Robin back to the warship again. Master Lin, Colonel Hina's warship has set sail from the interior of Alabasta. When Lin was about to arrive in Alabasta, Judge reported to Lin through the Den Den Mushi. What a coincidence! When Lin heard the news, a smile appeared on his face. Alabasta has a long and narrow coastline, and there is even a river that goes deep into the country. Lin is still worried about how to find Nico Robin. Now they just need to wait here, and they can meet Nico Robin. Colonel Hina, we found a pirate ship at the estuary. When the Navy warship was about to sail out of the estuary, Hina received a report from the Navy soldiers. Just destroy the pirate ship. Do I need to teach you these things? Hina felt a little strange when she heard the report from her subordinates. Colonel Hina, this pirate group is the Lin Pirates. The Navy reported to Hina. What? That Lin with a bounty of 1 billion berries actually appeared in Alabasta. Hearing the words of the Navy soldier, Hina frowned. Lin is a legendary pirate who broke through the siege of Vice Admiral Garb. There are not many such people even in the New World. I didn't expect that we would meet Lin. Let's capture him and Nico Robin to impel down together. The two brigadiers behind Hina were happy. If the two of them relied on their strength alone, they might not be able to defeat Lin, but now they have armor, everything is different. Lin is just a superhuman devil fruit ability user, what can he use to resist the armor's rockets? The two brigadiers felt that the opportunity to make a contribution was right in front of them. They put on the armor directly on the deck of the warship, and then the two of them took off and killed Lin. Lin, your pirate journey ends here. The two armors painted with the Navy logo flew in front of Lin's ship, and they shouted to Lin. Caw caw caw. The rockets on their shoulders and the small missiles on their arms were all aimed at Lin N. How dare you use armor against me? Don't you know that I am the first person to use armor in this sea? Lin N didn't take their threats seriously at all. He could even laugh. So what? Our armors are all made by the world government. The materials and technology used are much stronger than those of Germa. The man in the armor on the far left said disdainfully. The baby 5 next to me is a weapon fruit ability user. All the armors on this sea are controlled by her. You armors may seem powerful, but as long as she says a word, you will die. Lin N hugged the shoulders of baby 5 next to him and pushed her in front of him. He smiled at the two armors in the sky. Stop bragging. Come on, let us see. The bodies of the two commodores were shaking with laughter. Explode. Baby 5 pointed her finger at the two armors in the sky, and she shouted to them. On the surface, this sentence was said to the two brigadiers in the sky, but in fact it was said to Judge who was talking to Lin N. Judge had prepared everything long ago. Hearing what Baby 5 said, he decisively activated the self-destruction devices of the two armors. Boom! With a violent sound, two huge balls of light appeared in the sky. The two brigadiers had not used any attack against Lin N, but they exploded. How is this possible? Can the weapon fruit have such terrible power? Hina saw this scene, and she silently took off the armor she had already put on. The scene just now was too scary, and Hina didn't dare to gamble. Is that Colonel Hina? I'm here for Nico Robin. As long as you release Nico Robin, I'll let you go safely. Lin En looked at the beautiful female Navy with pink hair on the bow of the Navy warship, and he shouted directly. Nico Robin, are you here for Nico Robin too? Hearing Lin En's words, Hina couldn't help but be surprised. This Nico Robin is simply the source of chaos. Since Hina caught her, there has not been a single day of peace. First, Crocodile sent Mr. One to attack the warship, and then after Hina set sail from the port of Alabasta, 3 waves of pirates of unknown origin launched an attack on them. All the pirates' ships were penetrated by Hina's black gun formation. Although the ships of those unknown forces did not cause damage to the Navy, they hindered the Navy's time. This is why Hina met Lin En. Lin En obviously had no relationship with Nico Robin. If they have a little friendship, why would he save Nico Robin? Lin, you can't take Nico Robin away. Hina used the power of the fruit to gather a black iron bar, and she threw the black iron bar towards Lin's ship. This is Hina's long-range attack. As long as Lin's ship is penetrated, it's a fight or escape. The initiative is in Hina's hands. Kuina's figure jumped high, and the Wado Ikimonji on her waist flashed across the black iron bar, and the black iron bar was split in the middle by Kuina. Female swordsman. She's a very young and powerful female swordsman. Hina's pupils shrank slightly when she saw this scene. She could feel Kuina's strength from her sword. There are almost no swordsmen with such strength among the new generation of the Navy. Although Hina was shocked, her movements were not slow at all. She threw 4 or 5 more black iron bars at Lin En's ship, but all of them were blocked. Boom boom boom. The Navy cannons also began to roar at this time, and huge waves appeared around their pirate ship. Da da da. Baby 5 transformed into a machine gun, and a long chain of bullets detonated all the shells fired at them in the air. If there was no person Lin En wanted in the cabin of the opposite Navy, Baby 5 would have blown up the Navy warship with one shot. Room. As Hina's warship entered the range of Lin En's operating space, Lin En used the power of the surgery fruit to teleport to the Navy warship. Before Hina had time to be shocked, she saw the pirates on the warship fall one after another. This is Conqueror's Hockey. You actually have Conqueror's Hockey. Seeing the Navy around him fall down with white eyes and foam at the mouth, Hina was shocked again. Conqueror's Hockey is praised as the posture of the king. After Doflamingo and Boa Hancock, the third pirate with Conqueror's Hockey appeared in the first half of the Grand Line. Since Lin En's Conqueror's Hockey awakened, this is his first time to use it. It must be said that the effect of Conqueror's Hockey in cleaning up the small fish is really great. Hina's arms turned into railings, and she wanted to use them to restrain Lin En, but Lin En just teleported away. Lin En was too lazy to tangle with Hina, and he moved directly into the cabin. When Hina saw Lin En disappear, she immediately guessed Lin En's purpose, and she also ran in the direction where Nicole Robin was imprisoned. Nicole Robin heard the sound of fighting on the deck, and then she saw Lin En appearing in front of her. Are you Lin En? Nicole Robin was stunned when she saw Lin En. As a scholar, Nicole Robin has a good memory. Lin En is a popular figure on the sea. How could Nicole Robin not know Lin En? But Nicole Robin couldn't figure it out. She didn't know Lin En, so how could Lin En fight with the Navy and appear in front of her? Robin, tell me you want to live. Lin En looked at the black-haired straight girl bound by chains in front of her. This was the first sentence Lin En and Nicole Robin said. This man seemed to be able to see into her heart, and Nico Robin couldn't help but shed tears again. Mr. Lin, do you know me? Nico Robin couldn't understand why a pirate like Lin with a bounty of 1 billion would pay so much attention to her. I came here specifically for you. Lin smiled at Nico Robin. You want me to interpret the historical text for you? When Nico Robin heard Lin's words, she immediately thought of this. As the only scholar in O'Hara, the reason why the world government pays so much attention to her is because she can interpret the historical text. The sand crocodile in Alabasta saw her ability, and Mr. One came to the Navy warship to take her away. This is Nico Robin's greatest value, and she guessed that Lin came for this. But she guessed wrong. My ship is still short of a navigator, and I invite you to be a navigator. Lin said to Nico Robin. Navigator. I'm a scholar. I only know some basic navigation techniques. I'm not a professional navigator. Nico Robin never expected that this would be the reason. There are thousands of navigators on this sea. As long as Lin En raises his arm, countless navigators will come to join him. Why does Lin En have to find an unprofessional person like him? If you don't know, you can learn. As someone who passed the scholar exam at the age of 8, isn't this a piece of cake for you? Lin En smiled at Nico Robin. Hearing Lin En's wild idea, Nico Robin felt that the man in front of her was different from everyone else on the sea. You can't save me. I'm bound by seastone shackles. I can't open it without a key. Although Nico Robin was a little tempted, her eyes dimmed immediately. Seastone is the hardest substance on this sea. Except for opening it with a key, ordinary methods cannot destroy seastone. You are very clear-headed, Nico Robin. Give up, Lin, you can't open the seastone handcuffs. Hina finally came over, and she just heard what Nico Robin said, and she said to Lin. The key to the handcuffs was originally kept by the 2 brigadier generals, but Lin blew them up directly, and now the seastone key has fallen into the sea. Not to mention Lin, even Tina has no way to open the handcuffs now. Really, I don't believe it. A small piece of white bone appeared on Lin's left index finger, and then he inserted the bone into the keyhole of the seastone handcuffs. Lin controlled the growth of the bones, and soon the bones grew into the shape of a key. Click. Lin gently turned the key, and the seastone handcuffs opened. Hina and Nico Robin looked at the opened handcuffs, and the scene became awkward for a while. Is it because this is a derivative of the devil fruit ability, not the devil fruit itself? Nicole Robin watched the bone key fall off Lin's index finger, and she immediately understood the reason. Although seastone is a substance that can suppress the ability of the devil fruit user and make the user powerless. But this inhibitory effect is only effective for the user himself, and is ineffective for the objects made by the user. Although the bones that Lin just transformed were derived from the ability of the surgery fruit, they are not the ability of the surgery fruit itself. The seastone shackles were opened by Lin in such a magical way, and Nicole Robin rekindled hope. Nicole Robin, are you willing to be my crew member? Lin once again asked Nico Robin. I have betrayed my boss many times. Aren't you afraid that I will betray you? Nicole Robin smiled at Lin En. If you betray me one day, it only means that I am just a man like that. Lin En was still very confident about this. I want to survive, so I'll ask Captain Lin En to take good care of me in the future. Nicole Robin said to Lin En. Hey, you two, do you really think Hina doesn't exist? Looking at the 2 pirates asking and answering here, they clearly didn't take themselves, the captain of the Navy headquarters, seriously. Hina's arms turned into railings and grabbed Lin En and Nico Robin. She wanted to take the 2 to the impel down. Unfortunately, her railings had not yet enclosed Lin En and Nico Robin. Lin En used the Operation Fruit again to move him and Nico Robin away. Lin En's fruit ability was like a fish in water in such a small and complex terrain, and Hina had no way to limit it at all. Nicole Robin was hugged by Lin En's waist. She felt a flash in front of her eyes, and she came to a strange ship. Lin En, is she Nicole Robin? Baby 5 looked at the strange woman who suddenly appeared, and she asked Lin En. My name is Nicole Robin. Please give me more advice in the future. Nicole Robin looked at the 3 completely unfamiliar girls on the ship, and she took the initiative to greet the 3 girls. Then there are no hostages on this Navy warship now, right? Baby 5 transformed from a machine gun into an Armstrong-type revolving Armstrong cannon. As the cannon roared, the Navy warship on the opposite side was immediately blown up. Lin En took a look at the disintegrated warship, and he could only wish Hina good luck. Robin, this is your room. The bookshelf is full of notes and books about navigation. You must become a qualified navigator as soon as possible. Lin En pointed to the books on the bookshelf and said to Nicole Robin. I will. Flowers of petals grew out of thin air on the bookshelf, and then pairs of arms picked up books and opened them at the same time. Nicole Robin was actually reading 5 books at the same time. Seeing Nicole Robin's skill, the 3 girls showed admiration in their eyes. Maybe my surgery fruit can also develop similar abilities. Lin En saw the 4 arms growing from Nicole Robin's elbows, and he had new inspiration for the development of the surgery fruit. Lin, do you really know where the historical text of Alabasta is? On the ship of Lin's pirate group, when Nico Robin heard this, she was a little excited. To make the history that was blank for 100 years reappear, this is her biggest wish, and this is also the purpose of her coming to Alabasta. Unfortunately, she did not find the historical text when she sneaked into Alabasta. Unexpectedly, Lin knew the whereabouts of the historical text. The surprise came too suddenly, and Nico Robin didn't know how to describe her feelings. You are my crew member. Since you have boarded my ship, as the captain, I will naturally help you realize your wish. A smile appeared on Lin's face. Thank you so much, Lin. Nicole Robin smiled at Lin. Robin, I need your flower fruit to help me with my research. Can you help me? Lin looked at Nico Robin expectantly, which made it difficult for Nico Robin to refuse. Two-wheeled flower master. As Nicole Robin used the power of the flower fruit, Lin saw two more arms growing on his arms. The skin of these two arms was wheat-colored and delicate, no different from Nicole Robin's original skin. Lin's hand gently stroked the two arms, and under his fingertips, tiny goosebumps appeared on the two arms, and Nicole Robin's face also showed a blush. Although the arms are now growing on Lin's body, they are actually Nicole Robin's own arms. Lin stroking the two arms is equivalent to directly stroking Nicole Robin. What are you doing? Reju's voice directly dissipated the ambiguous atmosphere in the cabin. Don't get me wrong, I'm cooperating with Captain Lin to do research. Nicole Robin said to Reju. Doing research? Is the research you do serious? Reju looked at the scene in front of her and was very skeptical of Nicole Robin's statement. I just want to use the power of the flower fruit to find some inspiration for the development of the Operation Fruit. Lin also said to Reju at this time. I understand, no need to explain. After all, when you entered someone's body, Lin, you used this as an excuse. After Reju finished speaking, she covered her mouth and walked out of the room, leaving only Lin with a black line on her head and Nico Robin who was confused. Don't get me wrong, my Operation Fruit can allow people to exchange consciousness and body, and that's what Reju meant by entering her body. Seeing that Nico Robin was going to get it wrong, Lin explained to her. Can the Operation Fruit actually do this? Nicole Robin's eyes showed a hint of surprise. She has seen the Devil Fruit Encyclopedia, which says that the Operation Fruit is the most suitable ability for doctors. But the Devil Fruit Encyclopedia does not say that the Operation Fruit can also exchange bodies. Lin, you have seen my flower fruit, I wonder if you have any inspiration for the development of your Operation Fruit. Nicole Robin asked Lin. Lin didn't say anything, he just shook his shoulders slightly, and four arms appeared on his shoulders again. Captain Lin, you look like an octopus fishman now. Nico Robin smiled at Lin. Although this state is ugly, it can increase my attack frequency by 3 to 6 times. The four white bone arms behind Lin swung flexibly, and he said to Nico Robin. If it is as you said, Captain Lin, then the top strong man in this sea is the octopus fishman, but there is no top fishman strongman in this sea. Nico Robin said such a philosophical word to Lin. You are right, for a real strong man, perhaps only one arm is enough. These methods of mine are just the cleverness of the weak after all. Lin suddenly thought of Shanks with a broken arm. If he hadn't performed surgery on Shanks, it would be even more shocking for Shanks to become the pirate emperor with one arm. In addition to this ability, Lin has another ability that he has not shown to Nico Robin. That is to use the surgical space to cause the endocrine system of the people in the surgical space to mutate, so that they can become various indescribable forms. This ability is like the domineering color domineering, which is a range ability, but this ability can only be used against the small fish who do not have the armed color domineering or whose armed color domineering is not as good as him. Lin, we have arrived at the port, we need to cross the desert. Reju's voice came from outside the room. Albana, the capital of Alabasta, is located in the desert. If you want to reach it, you must abandon the ship and cross the desert to reach it. Baby 5 transformed into an off-road vehicle with a machine gun on the roof, and Lin drove Baby 5 all the way to Albana. When Lin and others left in the desert, several seemingly ordinary residents took out Den Mushi and reported to Baroque Works. Lin actually saved Nico Robin, and they are coming to Albana. Alabasta Kingdom, Rainland, Rain Feast, Casino. When Crocodile heard the news, a smile appeared on his lips. It seems that luck is still on my side, Mr. 1, this time I must keep Nico Robin. Crocodile looked at the bald man standing next to him, and he said to Mr. 1. Boss, I want to try to kill Lin. After all, he is a big pirate with a bounty of 1 billion Baileys. I think his strength should be very strong. Mr. 1 looked at Crocodile with his calm eyes, and he asked Crocodile. As long as you can bring Nico Robin back, the rest is up to you. Remind you, Lin En was able to escape from Garp's encirclement, he is not so easy to deal with. Crocodile said to Mr. 1. I heard that he is a swordsman. As long as he is a swordsman, he can't turn over in front of my quick-cut fruit. Mr. 1 said to Crocodile as he was about to walk out of the door. As Mr. 1 went out, the cadres of Baroque works lurking in various places in Alabasta also received orders to ambush on the road that Albana must pass through. Someone is ambushing, is it Baroque works? When Lin En was about to step into the ambush of Baroque works, Lin En looked at the sand dunes in front of him. We have been discovered. Mr. 1 has been observing with a telescope. Seeing Lin En looking directly in their direction, he knew that Lin En had discovered them. The next moment, the machine gun on the roof of the off-road vehicle that Baby 5 transformed into began to roar, and a cadre was shot into a sieve in an instant without being able to defend himself. Mr. 1 did not expect Lin En to be so decisive. He would take the initiative to attack them when he realized that something was wrong. Before they could react, Lin En's voice suddenly came from behind them. Are you agents of Baroque works? Lin En's voice was like a bomb that caused a huge uproar in everyone's heart. They were all upper-level members of Baroque works, and they knew how strict the organization of Baroque works was. Even they did not know each other. How did Lin En know about their organization? Don't worry about it, kill him first. Mr. 1's palm turned into a blade, and he grabbed Lin En directly. But when his hand was about to grab Lin En teleported back 1 meter, and his attack missed. My hand, what's wrong with my hand? Save me, what's going on? Behind Mr. 1, the bodies of the cadres had been deformed. This is the inspiration Lin En got from the flower fruit. Compared with the lethality, this move has the greatest psychological offensive against the enemy. Except for Mr. 1, the remaining cadres have been solved by Lin En in 1 move. The ability user of the quick-cut fruit, it seems that I am not wrong. Lin En looked at the bald monk in front of him, and a smile appeared on his face. You are a swordsman, right? Since you know that I am the ability user of the quick-cut fruit, then you should know that I am your nemesis. Mr. 1's arms and legs turned into blades, and he said to Lin En. You said you can restrain swordsmen, right? Then let me see how you can restrain me. Guina walked up the sand dune, and she happened to hear what Mr. 1 said. Are you also a swordsman? My quick-cut fruit can turn my whole body into steel. Can your sword cut through steel? Mr. 1 raised his arm that had turned into a blade, and he said to Guina. Cut steel, isn't that a normal operation for swordsmen? If you can't even cut steel, how dare you go out to sea? Guina opened her eyes wide, as if it was a matter of course. Little devil, stop bragging there, don't regret it after I kill you. Mr. 1 didn't expect that he would be looked down upon by this little devil in front of him, and he was rarely angry. He came to kill Lin En, and Lin En didn't regard him as an opponent, but now he was insulted by a little girl under Lin En. Guina, this guy is left to you. Lin En said to Guina. Mr. 1 was the opponent that Lin En deliberately left for Guina. After Lin En's transformation, Guina's body is now stronger than Zoro's body when he was an adult. Zoro defeated Mr. 1 after a hard battle, and his swordsmanship has improved greatly. Since Guina went to sea, she has not met a decent opponent, and Mr. 1 is just her whetstone. Guina, I'll wait for you here. Reiju looked at the 2 people confronting each other and said to Guina. No need, if I can't even defeat this guy in front of me, how can I become the strongest swordsman on this sea? Guina's Wado Ikimonji was unsheathed, and she waved at Reiju. The off-road vehicle transformed by Baby 5 roared, and they went straight to Albana. Captain Lin, that Mr. 1 looks very strong, will Guina be okay? Looking at Guina, who had turned into a small black dot, Nico Robin said with some worry. She had seen Mr. One take action before, and the Navy's armor didn't blow him to death. He is a very powerful person. Have some confidence in your partner, Robin. Lin smiled at Nico. Robin. Soon, Lin En and others entered Alabasta, and Crocodile also received information about Lin En and others entering the city. Mr. L, have they failed? It seems that I still need to take action myself. Outside the city of Alabasta, when Crocodile learned of this information, he turned into a wisp of dust and floated towards Lin En and others. This is the capital of Alabasta. As a powerful country in the first half of the Grand Line, there are hundreds of thousands of standing troops here. Lin En's operating space covered the capital, and they came to the funeral hall on the west side of the capital without disturbing a guard. This is the palace where the kings of all generations are buried, so there are almost no guards here. This is where the historical text is. Lin En successfully found the switch to open the funeral hall through the operating space. As Lin En pulled the iron ring, an underground passage appeared in front of them. Is this where the historical text is? Nicole Robin looked at the desolate buildings around her. Originally thought that the historical text would be strictly guarded by the Nefertari clan, but she didn't expect that the historical text would be here. Sand Crocodile, you have been listening for so long, why don't you show up? Lin En looked at the calm desert in front of him, and he suddenly said loudly. Sand Crocodile is here. Hearing Lin En's words, the faces of Reiju and others became solemn. Sand Crocodile is one of the 7 warlords of the sea, and it is a monster with the power to destroy a country. For them, Sand Crocodile is a real big shot, one of the top strong men on the sea. Lin En, you can actually find me. It seems that your escape from Garp's hands is not a fluke. With a burst of laughter, a man with a big back hair, a long scar on his face, and a black leather jacket appeared in front of Lin En. He did not walk out, but was condensed from the sand on the ground. Become my subordinate, Lin En. I will lead you to dominate the Grand Line. Sand Crocodile raised the golden hook in his hand, and his eyes looked at the dark hole. There was a historical text in the hole. As long as he could get Pluto, he would be able to gain the power to defeat the world's strongest man, Whitebeard. Dominate the Grand Line. Who gave you the courage? Is it the legendary ancient weapon Pluto? Lin En looked at Sand Crocodile, and he directly said what Crocodile relied on the most. You actually know Pluto too. Hearing Lin En's words, Crocodile's face changed. This was the secret of his coming to Alabasta. Even his subordinates didn't know it. How did Lin En know it? But Crocodile adjusted immediately. Since you know Pluto, you should know that Pluto has a powerful firepower that can destroy an island with one shot. As long as I find Pluto, even the world government can't do anything to me. Crocodile's voice was excited, and his eyes were full of ambition at this time. Lin En did not respond to Crocodile's words, he just sighed deeply. Kid, what's your attitude? Seeing Lin En's attitude, Crocodile frowned. I thought you would be a strong enemy. After all, you were once a strong man who was evenly matched with Barrett. I didn't expect that you didn't want to rely on yourself, but wanted to rely on external things to dominate the sea. You have lost the heart of a strong man. Go away, I don't want to kill you. Lin En said to Crocodile. Lin, even Whitebeard didn't dare to look down on me like this. Hearing Lin's ruthless exposure of his scars, Crocodile was immediately angry. After all, he was one of the 7 warlords of the sea, and he had his own pride. Although he was very fond of Lin's potential, Lin insulted him so much that Crocodile had to let him sleep in the desert. Crocodile's body turned into fine sand and dissipated with the wind. The next moment, he appeared directly in front of Lin. I caught you, kid. Prepare to become a dried corpse in the desert. Seeing that Lin was caught so easily by him, Crocodile showed a sneer on his face. His desert prison can absorb the target's moisture. Lin is not a natural ability user, so he can't get rid of it at all. Crocodile directly activated the ability of the sand fruit, but the smile disappeared from his face the next moment. How is it possible? Why is there no moisture in your body? Crocodile has absorbed countless people, and this is the first time he has seen such a situation. Keep laughing, why don't you laugh? More than a dozen bone spurs grew in front of Lin's body, and Crocodile was pierced instantly. However, the part where Crocodile was pierced did not bleed, but ochre-colored fine sand flowed down. Crocodile just used elementalization, and Lin's attack did not work. What's going on? Why can't I absorb the water in your body? Crocodile's body condensed from another direction, and he asked Lin again. Are you sure you touched my skin? Lin raised the arm that Crocodile had just grabbed, and Crocodile saw that the outside of Lin's arm was not skin, but an extremely delicate periosteum. Is this the ability of the devil fruit? I didn't expect you to develop the operation fruit to this extent. Crocodile saw that this was obviously not a human structure, and he guessed that this was the ability of the operation fruit. Shalon, seeing that he couldn't take down Lin in close combat, Crocodile directly rubbed a tornado with his hand. After being thrown out by Crocodile, the tornado quickly grew larger, and the sand in the entire funeral hall was sucked towards the sand tornado by this suction force. A natural disaster can be created with a wave of the hand. Is this the strength of the 7 warlords of the sea? Reiju's eyes were serious. She only knew the value of the 7 warlords of the sea today. No matter how strong Crocodile is, Lin En will not lose. BBAY5's maid skirt was blown tightly to her body, but even so, she did not retreat a step. Baby 5 put on the windproof glasses on her head, and she watched the battle between Lin En and Crocodile seriously. Baby 5 has strong confidence in Lin En, and Lin En can definitely defeat Crocodile. Crocodile, don't waste time with such a trick. A white light flashed from the middle of the sand tornado, and the newly formed sand tornado was immediately split by Lin En's sword. The sand tornado formed a scattered gust of wind, and the place returned to calm again. You can even split the invisible sand roll. Your swordsmanship is stronger than I thought. Crocodile looked at the bone sword in Lin's hand, and a solemn look flashed in his eyes. Although Lin's swordsmanship is not as good as Hawkeye's now, he can also be called a swordsman. If Crocodile doesn't deal with it carefully, he may be overturned in Lin's hands. Room. Lin teleported directly in front of Crocodile through the power of the surgery fruit. Crocodile seemed to have predicted Lin's position through the observation hockey. Crescent-shaped sand dune. Crocodile's left arm turned into a half-moon-shaped sand blade, and he swept towards Lin's chest. As long as Lin was hit by the sand blade, Crocodile could use the sand fruit to suck all his blood and water from his body. Lin's arm is protected by periosteum. Is his body also wrapped in periosteum? The attack was very close, and Crocodile felt that Lin could not dodge it. But when the sand blade approached Lin's body, Lin's operation shocked Crocodile's eyes. Lin actually took the initiative to split his body, and the sand blade went directly through the crack in Lin's body. After the sand blade left, Lin's body was united again, and his long sword stabbed directly at Crocodile. Desert Greatsword. Crocodile's face was solemn, and he inserted his arm that turned into a sand blade into the desert. The next moment, a sand blade suddenly emerged in front of Lin. Lin's body did not stop, and he broke through the sand blade and came to Crocodile with a teleportation. With a sword thrust out, Crocodile's body turned into a sand sculpture and dissipated. Desert Sword. Crocodile appeared in another direction, and the sand blade in his hand swung straight at Lin. The sharpness of this attack was no less than that of a swordsman's slash. Baby 5 and Reiju saw that the desert was cut in half by this attack. He is obviously a natural ability user, but the abilities he has developed far exceed the desert itself. If Lin is hit, I'm afraid Lin will be cut in half in an instant. Reiju looked at Crocodile's attack, her face full of solemnity. Baby 5's hands turned into machine guns and aimed at Crocodile. Once Lin was at a disadvantage, Baby 5 would support Lin. That's the way it should be, Crocodile. Lin's eyes flashed, and the bone sword in his hand chopped straight at Crocodile's attack. The desert cracks stopped at Lin, and even a white-hot slash flew backwards towards Crocodile. Desert Diamond Sword. Crocodile used an enhanced move to offset Lin's slash. Before Lin could attack again, Crocodile's body dissipated with the wind and sand. This was a sandstorm bigger than the sandstorm just now. The sandstorm before had a shape, and Lin could cut it off. Now there are sandstorms everywhere. With Lin's current swordsmanship, he can't eliminate all of them. It has to be said that Crocodile's sand fruit has too much bonus in the desert. Lin used armament hockey to resist Crocodile's sand and dust. He found that his bone sword with armament hockey had been eroded by Crocodile's sand and dust without knowing it. Lin recalled Shanks's sword days, and he felt that maybe he should find a famous sword. Although the bone sword is convenient, it doesn't look as good as the famous sword. Moreover, those famous swords were forged through thousands of hammers, so they were definitely stronger than Lin En's current bone sword. Kid, do you have any other tricks? Crocodile's wild laughter could be heard in the desert, and Lin En felt that the moisture around him was also being constantly deprived. Reiju, baby 5, please go to the basement first. Lin En sensed the wind and sand in front of him, and he said to them. They couldn't help in this battle, and standing here would only make them more dusty at most. Then you have to be careful. After baby 5 and Reiju finished speaking, they entered the basement. Lin En directly closed the door of the funeral hall, and Crocodile's wind and sand could no longer enter. Ding! Crocodile's golden hook collided with Lin En's bone sword. This was the 7th wave of attack launched by Crocodile. Let's stop here, Lin En. I am a natural ability user, you can't break my defense. Crocodile calmly watched Lin En's bone sword pierce his body, and his body turned into sand again and fell to the ground. How do you know that I can't break your defense? Who gave you the confidence? Lin En directly locked Crocodile's position, and he teleported directly in front of Crocodile. As long as Crocodile is in the operating space, Lin En can capture his position. From the beginning of the war to now, Crocodile's whereabouts have always been under Lin En's control, but Lin En wants to see how far Crocodile can go. Now Lin En already knows Crocodile's strength, he is much weaker than Lin En thought. Lin En's right hand flashed with blue light, which was the weak electricity in Lin En's body. He amplified the weak electricity through the ability of the Operation Fruit. He has never used this ability since he was in Shimotsuki village. What kind of move is this? When Lin En condensed the weak electricity in his hand, Crocodile's observation Haki actually felt a threat. Before Crocodile asked this question, he found that Lin En actually appeared directly in front of him. Afterwards, Crocodile felt a sharp pain in his chest, and then his body was knocked away by Lin En. The wind and sand in the sky began to dissipate, and the funeral hall finally returned to normal again. Crocodile reappeared in front of Lin En, with cold sweat on the corners of his mouth, and even blood flowing from the corners of his mouth. As a natural ability user, he has not suffered such a long time. How is it possible? I have already transformed into an element, how can you hit my body directly? Crocodile's face was covered with cold sweat, and he felt that his internal organs had been displaced. If he hadn't transformed his body into an element at the critical moment, perhaps his heart would have been crushed by Lin En. Crocodile is a pirate who often fights on the sea, and his combat experience is much richer than that of Judge. Judge was taken from his heart by Lin En with this attack, but Crocodile was able to resolve Lin En's attack at the last moment. Lin En did not take Crocodile's heart, but he injected all kinds of messy hormones into Crocodile's body through the previous attack. Although Crocodile's body is not injured now, he can feel that his body is not good. His limbs were completely out of control. If he hadn't used elementalization to maintain it, he might have made a fool of himself. Not only that, there were various conditions in his body. Even when he was talking to Lin, his voice became very pleasant. He turned into a woman for a moment. This was the change caused by female hormones in his body. But Crocodile immediately suppressed this abnormal state with his armed color domineering, and he returned to normal again. Your sand will not be able to turn into sand when it comes into contact with water. It's true. Lin raised his left hand, and a water ball appeared in his hand. That was the water condensed in his body. Lin first made Crocodile's elementalization invalid, and then he hit Crocodile with one blow. Lin, wait until I resolve your weird attack, he will come back. Crocodile's current state is no longer suitable for continuing to fight, and he decisively chose to run away. In front of Lin, Crocodile turned into sand and directly became part of the desert. Lin could no longer sense Crocodile's whereabouts. Crocodile actually ran away on his own initiative. You run so fast. Lin En originally wanted to capture Crocodile for research, after all, he is a natural devil fruit user. Unfortunately, Crocodile realized that he no longer had the strength to fight, so he decisively ran away. Crocodile is a sand fruit user. His escape into the desert is like putting a grain of sand into the desert. Lin En can't find his trace at all. Lin En is too lazy to look for Crocodile. After all, Crocodile is not his target either. When Lin En reopened the door, he saw Baby 5 and Reiju with worried expressions on their faces. I told you that Crocodile would not be Lin En's opponent. When Baby 5 saw Lin En appear, a smile appeared in her eyes. It's hard to imagine that Captain Lin En actually defeated the 7 warlords of the sea. Nicole Robin also walked out of here at this time, and she congratulated Lin En. Is the historical text here what you are looking for? Lin En asked Nicole Robin. Yes, this is exactly what I am looking for, Nicole Robin said to Lin En. Although Nicole Robin has just joined the Lin En Pirates, she feels that the Lin En Pirates are a very special existence. Perhaps joining such a pirate group is not a bad thing. Then let's go, Kuina should be waiting anxiously. Lin En heard Nicole Robin's answer, and he turned around and walked out of the capital. Captain Lin, aren't you curious about what is recorded in the historical text? What if there is really news about the ancient weapon Pluto? Nicole Robin asked Lin. I don't like to dig into history, I like to create history. Lin smiled at Nicole Robin. Baby 5 transformed into an off-road vehicle again, and they drove in the direction where they parted with Kuina. When they arrived there, they saw Kuina waiting there. The surrounding roads and rocks were full of knife marks, from which one could feel the intensity of the battle. Kuina, it's great to see you. The bow on the roof of the off-road vehicle kept shaking, and Baby 5 shouted to Kuina. I said it a long time ago, I won't lose. Kuina glanced at Mr. 1 who had fallen to the ground, and she smiled at her companions. Mr. 1 was the strongest opponent she had met so far, and she also gained a lot in this battle. Are you injured? I can bandage you. Reiju took out a pink medicine box from somewhere and said to Kuina. She is the ship doctor of this pirate group. When a member is injured, it is time for her to play a role. Kuina boarded the car that Baby 5 transformed into, and they headed towards the port. Chapter 71. Although the news of Crocodile's defeat was very secret, the news that Crocodile was severely injured by Lin was still known by the world government. Marihoa, Pangu City. The information about Crocodile's defeat has been placed in front of the 5 elders, the world's highest authority. I really didn't expect that such a monster would appear in the first half of the Grand Line. Financial War Goddess Amburn v. Nasujiro Saint looked at Lin's overly young face in the intelligence, and he felt like he saw a new pirate emperor. The defeat of the 7 warlords of the sea must not be known to the people on the sea. We must take Lin down before this matter is reported. Agricultural War God Shepherd 10 Pit Saint put his hand on Lin's wanted order and said to the other 5 elders. The Operation Fruit can perform longevity surgery on people. This fruit must not be mastered by a pirate. Legal War God Topman Wokuri Saint is concerned about Lin's evil fruit. He found that Lin's strength was growing so fast, which was inseparable from the Operation Fruit. Isn't that woman Boa Hancock very interested in Lin? Let her kill Lin. It would be best if Lin could be captured alive and impelled down. If Lin can't be captured alive, then killing Lin is also okay. The god of environment Marcus Moshe looked indifferent. I agree to let Boa Hancock take action. That woman is quite powerful and has the qualification of Overlord Color. She may be able to defeat Lin. If the result is that Lin defeats Boa Hancock, then we will let him replace Crocodile and become the new 7 warlords of the sea. We will not lose anything. The god of science defense Zagolucia Satan told the other 5 elders his thoughts. The Queen Boa Hancock is not only the king of Amazon Lily, but also one of the 7 warlords of the sea. Such an identity is considered a big shot by ordinary people on the sea. But for the 5 elders, Boa Hancock is no different from the pirates on the sea. His idea was unanimously agreed by the 5 elders, and Boa Hancock soon received a den mushi from the world government. Lin En just defeated Crocodile in Alabasta. On the ship of the 9 Snakes pirates, Boa Hancock looked at the news delivered by the CP agency, and a flash of surprise flashed in her beautiful eyes. Crocodile is a natural ability user, and he is also a pirate who once challenged Whitebeard and escaped unscathed. Although Crocodile has neglected his own practice for some unknown reason in the past few years, the fact that he was able to defeat Crocodile is enough to show Lin En's ability. Is this information true, Sandersonia? Boa Hancock asked her sister. It's not that Boa Hancock doesn't believe her sister, but mainly because this information is too incredible. Sister, I have specifically asked the world government's intelligence department, and the intelligence is correct. All of Crocodile's subordinates were defeated, and even Crocodile was seriously injured by Lin and fled. Boa Sandersonia mentioned Lin, her eyes were full of admiration. Like her sister, she is a possessor of Conqueror Haki, and Lin seems to be younger than her sister, but she has achieved this level. I'm afraid Lin's strength is not weaker than her sister. Sister, if Lin's strength is not inferior to sister, what should we do if he doesn't cooperate with us? Boya Marigold's eyes showed a trace of worry. If Lin was an ordinary pirate, they could easily control Lin. But now according to the intelligence, Lin has the strength to defeat Crocodile. As a member of the 7 warlords of the sea, even her sister Boa Hancock does not have the confidence to defeat Crocodile. No matter what I ask, Lin En will agree to it, because I am so beautiful. Boa Hancock lifted her long hair hanging beside her ears, and she laughed confidently and exaggeratedly. Her 2 sisters did not think their sister was pretentious, because they knew that what their sister said was right. As the king of Daughter Island, Boa Hancock's beauty was originally unparalleled in the world. In addition, the devil fruit she ate was the superhuman sweet fruit, which made her every move exude amazing charm. No matter whether it was a man or a woman, they could not resist the charm of their sister Boa Hancock. Adjust the course, target the waters of Alabasta, set off. At the bow of the 9 Snakes pirates, the 2 huge sea snakes pulling the boat slowly turned around and headed towards the waters of Alabasta. Captain Lin, we can reach the Drum Kingdom at the latest tomorrow morning. On the ship of the Lin pirates, Nico Robin has already started to play the role of a navigator. As a genius, Nico Robin only spent a few hours to learn all the books on navigators collected by Judge and can apply them flexibly. Just like now, Nico Robin is sitting on the chair where Reiju often lies to read, but she uses the power of the flower fruit to grow 2 hands on the rudder to control the direction of the ship. As Nico Robin boarded the ship, the Germa armored soldier who was originally the navigator also retreated to the cabin. After Lin finished repairing the small garden, his original destination was actually the Drum Kingdom. It was only when Lin heard that Nico Robin had just entered the Grand Line that he came to Alabasta. The Drum Kingdom is a famous medical power on the Grand Line, and Lin's original destination was here. The medical skills of the Drum Kingdom are well known on the Grand Line. Lin En may be able to use the medical skills here to better develop his surgery fruit. Moreover, the king of the Drum Kingdom, Wapol, is also one of Lin En's goals here. Wapol swallow fruit is a very magical devil fruit, and even Blackbeard has been tempted by it. The swallow fruit can eat anything. Perhaps Lin En has taken his food utilization to a higher level by observing the swallow fruit. Captain Lin En, we seem to be in trouble. Before Lin En arrived at the Drum Kingdom, Nicole Robin brought Lin En another bad news. What happened? Is the Navy chasing us? Seeing Nicole Robin's appearance, Lin En asked Nicole Robin. I'm afraid it's much more difficult than the Navy. What appeared in front of us is not a Navy warship, but a ship of the 9 Snakes pirates. Nicole Robin said to Lin En. As a scholar with high IQ, Nico Robin memorized almost all the flags and ships of famous pirate groups during her escape. Boa Hancock had a bounty of 80 million Baileys on her first voyage, and she also became one of the 7 warlords of the sea. Naturally, Nico Robin remembered such a person. The 9 Snakes pirates, how could that woman Boa Hancock appear here? Hearing Nico Robin's words, Lin En frowned slightly. The 9 Snakes pirates are located in the country of the Calm Belt, and their range of activities is not near here. This is coming for me. Looking at the 9 Snakes pirates gradually approaching their ship, such a thought suddenly appeared in Lin En's mind. Sister, we have met the Lin En pirates. The pirates of the 9 Snakes pirates also saw Lin En's ship at this time, and Boa Sandersonia reported to Boa Hancock. Did you finally meet Lin En? With the crisp sound of high heels, Boa Hancock, wearing a tight purple cheongsam, walked onto the deck. At this moment, Lin En and Boa Hancock looked at each other across the pirate ship. Lin En also saw Boa Hancock, who is known as the number 1 beauty. Her 191 centimeters tall figure with high heels makes her already excellent figure look even more perfect. The crew members recruited by Lin En are also beauties, but they are not yet at their prime age, and they cannot compare with the current Boa Hancock. Such beauty allows Boa Hancock to maximize the charm of the sweet fruit. No matter men, women, young or old, they will be petrified when they see Boa Hancock. Lin En knows the horror of Boa Hancock's sweet fruit, and he can't let this woman attack his crew members. Let me see what Boa Hancock is going to do. Lin En directly uses the ability of the Operation Fruit to teleport to the ship of the Nine Snakes pirates. Enemy attack. The female warriors of the Nine Snakes pirates suddenly found that there was an extra man on their ship, and they immediately drew their bows and arrows and aimed at Lin En. The female warriors of the Nine Snakes are proficient in armament hockey, and Lin En found that those female warriors who were ready to attack her attached armament hockey to their bows and arrows. I'm not here to fight. Lin En saw the female warriors were on the verge of a fight, and his domineering aura was released directly. The female warriors of the Nine Snakes who were ready to attack fainted one after another. Lin En, what are you doing? Boa Hancock was furious, and she also released her domineering aura. For a moment, two domineering auras collided on the ship of the Nine Snakes pirates. Sweet wind. Looking at the man in front of her, Boa Hancock directly activated her fruit ability. This man dared to attack her subordinates in front of her, and Boa Hancock decided to teach this daring man a lesson. Facing Boa Hancock's attack, Lin En did not dodge at all, and he didn't even use his armed aura. How is it possible that my sweet wind doesn't work on this man? Boa Hancock looked at Lin En, who had not changed at all, and her surprised mouth opened. This was the first time she had encountered such a situation since she went to sea. Is this man not attracted by the beauty of my elder sister? Why is he not petrified? Boa Sandersonia rubbed her eyes hard. She felt that what she saw now was an illusion. But no matter how she rubbed her eyes, Lin En was still not petrified. He stood there. No one can be immune to the charm of my elder sister. Maybe this is the fruit ability of this man. Boa Marigold clenched the naginata in her hand and made such a guess. Impossible. What kind of fruit ability can resist the charm of my concubine? Boa Hancock didn't believe this evil. She used the fruit ability on Lin En again. A pink love light shot from Boa Hancock's hand to Lin En again, but Lin En still didn't change. It really worked. Seeing that Boa Hancock's attack failed, Lin En confirmed that his guess was correct. Boa Hancock's sweet fruit can turn anyone who is attracted to Boa Hancock into a stone statue, while Lin En's Operation Fruit ability can make him absolutely calm. Lin En is now like a doctor in the operating room. There is no other expression in his eyes except concentration. Under absolute calmness, Lin En will naturally not be fascinated by Boa Hancock's ability, and her sweet wind will naturally not work on Lin En. Then try to see if you can take my move. Fragrant feet. Boa Hancock's slender legs in high heels swept directly towards Lin En. Her fragrant feet can also turn objects she touches into stone statues. Lin En still did not make a move. He just used 3 sentences to make Boa Hancock confused. Boa Hancock, you didn't come to me to fight me, did you come for my Operation Fruit? If you turn me into a stone statue if it is kicked to pieces, then no one can help you remove the mark of the hoof of the sky dragon. Quote, Hancock, you don't want the people on this sea to know about the mark of the sky dragon, right? Lin En said these 3 sentences calmly, and at this time Boa Hancock's foot had already reached his temple. How do you know about the mark of the sky dragon? Quote, Boa Hancock's face was pale. She didn't expect that the thing she feared most in her heart would be directly revealed by this man. This mark is the emblem of the celestial dragons. Slaves raised by the world's nobles will be branded with this kind of lower human proof that can never be erased. When the fishman fisher tiger set fire to Marihoa, the 3 Boa sisters got rid of their slave status. The 3 sisters did not want others to know about the mark behind them, so they announced to the public that they defeated the monster Gorgon in the Central Sea at the end of an adventure, but were cursed by Gorgon and grew petrified eyes behind them. Once you take off your clothes, if you show your eyes, everyone nearby will be petrified. Boa Hancock sets up a protective formation every time she bathes, prohibiting anyone from entering the Nine Snakes castle. They have always kept this secret very well, but they didn't expect Lin En to see through their deepest secrets. Boa Hancock can still barely keep calm, but Boa Sandersonia and Boa Marigold have curled up in fear. Especially Boa Marigold, she has begun to tremble all over at this time. She recalled the days when she was abused by the celestial dragons, and her tears kept flowing down. You knew I came here for this matter. Quote, seeing that Lin En did not explain, Boa Hancock started to imagine it herself. Although she did not know where Lin En knew it from, if Lin En knew about it, it would be reasonable for him to knock all the guards unconscious right away. This secret was only known to the three sisters. If other members of the Nine Snakes Pirates heard it, things would become troublesome. This man is quite attentive. At this moment, Boa Hancock felt that Lin En was not so hateful. Lin, can you really remove the mark for us? As long as you can do it, you can tell me your conditions. Boa Hancock bit her lower lip with her white teeth. At this moment, the pirate queen actually had a kind of pitiful weakness. Before coming here, Boa Hancock never thought that she would fall into such a passive situation when she met Lin. Obviously, she is one of the 7 warlords of the sea, and Lin is just a pirate who has just entered the Grand Line. Boa Hancock's weakness has been grasped by Lin. Obviously, she came to kill Lin on the orders of the world government, but now she is begging Lin. Any conditions are acceptable. If I want you, is it okay? Lin looked at Boa Hancock, and a strange smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. You rude person. Boa Hancock heard Lin's words, and a blush appeared on her face and she scolded Lin. Although Boa Hancock knew that people all over the sea coveted her beauty, she was the first to show it so nakedly like Lin En. Boa Hancock was just a little girl under 20 years old. For a moment, she was a little flustered and didn't know how to deal with this matter. She wanted to remove the Sky Dragon mark just to get rid of her past as a slave. She couldn't sacrifice herself for a mark. Except for you, it seems that there is nothing else that can attract me in the Nine Snakes Pirates. Let's do this. After successfully removing the Sky Dragon mark, you have to let me study it. Lin En said to Boa Hancock. He also wanted to see how the sweet fruit petrified people. Then come in with me. Boa Hancock turned and walked towards the cabin. Sister, we will do a good job of guarding. Boa Sandersonia and Boa Marigold also cheered up again. They stood at the entrance of the cabin on the left and right. This matter is very important, and they must not let anyone disturb their elder sister. Captain Lin, do you need our help? When Lin was about to enter the cabin, a petal suddenly appeared on the railing beside Lin, and a hand with a mouth on the palm suddenly opened its mouth and said to Lin. It was Nico Robin. Seeing that Lin had boarded the ship of the Nine Snakes Pirates alone, she used the power of the flower fruit to pass a message to Lin. Baby 5 and the others were ready for the battle, and they could kill the Nine Snakes Pirates as long as Lin gave an order. You don't need to get close yet, let me deal with the Nine Snakes Pirates alone. Lin said to Nico Robin. Now everything about the Nine Snakes Pirates has been mastered by Captain Lin, so we don't have to worry. On the ship of the Lin Pirates, Nico Robin cancelled her fruit ability and said to Kuina and other companions. That's a pirate group of the 7 warlords of the sea. Can Lin En really handle it alone? A hint of doubt appeared in Kuina's eyes. The Nine Snakes Pirates are not a small pirate group. Would it be too much for Lin En to handle it alone? Have faith in Lin En. Lin En is very strong. Baby 5 is still full of blind confidence in Lin En. No matter what outrageous words Lin En said, Baby 5 can always believe it. Instead of worrying about Lin En, it's better to worry about Boa Hancock. It is said that Boa Hancock is the most beautiful woman in this sea. Our captain must be moved. Reiju sighed, and her face showed the look of an abandoned woman. Since we are on Lin En's ship, we must believe in Lin En. Nicole Robin has slowly walked into the cabin. Since Lin En said that he can handle it, she should go back to continue reading. Your crew members have special abilities. Is that the ability of Nico Robin, the son of the devil? Boa Hancock was surprised to see Lin talking to Nico Robin. Even she didn't notice when Nico Robin's ability appeared. Yes, this is the ability of Nico Robin's flower fruit. Lin said to Boa Hancock as he entered the cabin. The Nine Snakes Pirates are indeed a group of women. There is a faint floral scent in the entire cabin. Lin, wait in this room for a while. I'll go change into clothes that are convenient for surgery. After Boa Hancock said this to Lin, she walked into the opposite room in high heels. Lin wanted to say that it didn't have to be that troublesome. For the Operation Fruit, it doesn't matter what kind of clothes you wear. But Boa Hancock left too quickly, and Lin En didn't have a chance to say this. Lin En pushed the door and entered the room. This room was not the operating room as Lin En thought, but the bathroom. It was originally difficult to replenish fresh water during the voyage, and I didn't expect that there was such a large bath on the ship of the Nine Snakes pirates. Lin En also had a preliminary understanding of Boa Hancock's willfulness. Sorry, there is no special operating room on our ship. Not long after, Boa Hancock also pushed the door in. This time she was wearing a bright red pajamas with gorgeous lace. Although this pajamas is looser than her previous cheongsam, this dress is translucent. Lin En can vaguely see Boa Hancock's slender figure, which makes Boa Hancock look more seductive. Then let's get started, Hancock. Lin En took a deep breath and said to Boa Hancock. Boa Hancock took off her pajamas when she heard that. At this moment, the whole bathroom was filled with holy light reflected by Boa Hancock's white skin. The seductive curves on Boa Hancock's body made Lin En feel dizzy. Hey, it's just an operation, you don't have to take off all your clothes, right? Lin En looked at Boa Hancock's body and couldn't help but complain. Ah, Lin En, aren't you going to study my body? Boa Hancock's face was red and almost dripping blood. She misunderstood what Lin En meant. When she changed her pajamas just now, she made a great determination not to wear underwear. I didn't expect Lin En to say this. This is good, so you can see it more clearly. Lin En's eyes were fixed on Boa Hancock's white and delicate back. There is a huge dragon hoof mark on her flawless white back. This mark is the mark left by the celestial dragons. Unlike the way the sea is marked by tattoos, this mark is left by a red-hot iron. Even though Boa Hancock has amazing recovery ability, Lin En can see the burned skin around this mark. This mark not only left a mark on Boa Hancock's body, but also left a deep mark on her heart. Room microscope. With the help of the operation fruit, Lin En's observation hockey can see the dividing point between the burned cells and ordinary cells on Boa Hancock's back. When Lin En's hand gently pressed on Boa Hancock's back, Boa Hancock couldn't help but tremble slightly. This was the first time she was touched by a man while naked, not to mention that the hoof mark of the sky dragon made her feel ashamed. Hancock, I want to peel off all the burn cells and hoof marks on your back. After a careful examination, Lin En said to Boa Hancock. With such a large area, will it hurt? Boa Hancock frowned slightly and asked Lin En. Don't worry, you won't feel any pain. Lin En directly used a bone to transform into a scalpel, and he began to peel off Boa Hancock's skin. Boa Hancock's skin is very delicate, which greatly reduces Lin's workload. Boa Hancock could only hear the sound of Lin's knife behind her. Not only did she not feel any pain, but she didn't even bleed. Lin, have you started? Boa Hancock waited for a long time but didn't feel anything. She couldn't help but ask Lin. Don't talk. Lin scolded Boa Hancock, and Boa Hancock immediately became obedient. Soon, the hoof mark of the sky dragon on Boa Hancock's back was completely peeled off by Lin, and the most difficult step was completed. After that, Lin controlled the healing hormone in Boa Hancock's body to restore the skin behind her. Lin stood behind Boa Hancock and saw a magical scene. The snow-white skin slowly covered the blood-red flesh, and finally all the blood red could not be seen. Done. Lin En closed the operating room and smiled at Boa Hancock. Boa Hancock was still naked, and she turned around and pointed her back at the full-length mirror in the bathroom. It disappeared, it really disappeared. A trace of mist appeared in Boa Hancock's eyes. Ever since she bore the mark of shame, she has been waiting for this day all the time. Now this day has finally come. Sandasonia, Marigold, come in. Boa Hancock covered her body with her red pajamas and shouted to the outside. Sister, did it work? Boa Sandersonia walked in from the door and asked Boa Hancock with some trembling. Lin En is the only person they have met so far who has the hope of removing the Tianxiang dragon mark. If he fails, the marks on their backs may never be removed. Sandasonia, Marigold, it worked. Lin successfully peeled it off for me. Boa Hancock lifted the peeled skin in her hands. Great, elder sister. Sandasonia and Marigold looked at each other, and tears could not help but flow from their eyes. The next one to undergo surgery was Sandasonia. Sandasonia was 4.5 meters tall, and the sky dragon mark on her back that needed to be peeled off was twice as big as Boa Hancock's. With previous experience, Lin's speed this time was faster than the operation for Boa Hancock. Boa Hancock also knew how the mark on her back was peeled off at this time. Lin's hands were very steady, and Sandersonia did not feel any pain from beginning to end. After that, Sandersonia's skin began to grow slowly, and in less than a moment, Sandersonia's back was completely restored. If Boa Hancock hadn't seen it with her own eyes, she would have found it hard to believe that Sandersonia had the sky dragon hoof mark on her back. Sandersonia was also very bold. She didn't treat Lin as an outsider at all. She took off her top and looked at her back. She was the animal snake fruit python form. She could turn her head and see her back. Seeing that there was indeed no mark on her back, she could no longer suppress her inner feelings and began to cry. Next was Marigold. With the experience of the previous 2 times, Lin was faster this time. When Marigold saw that the mark on her back had disappeared like her 2 sisters, she and Sandersonia hugged each other and cried bitterly. After escaping from Marihoa, they often dreamed of Marihoa, a place like hell. They also often dreamed of their bodies in their dreams. The scene where they were discovered by the celestial dragons and were captured back to Marihoa. Now that the mark has disappeared, no one can say that they were once slaves of the celestial dragons. Thank you for removing the mark for us. I will always remember your kindness. Boa Hancock looked at Lin and said to Lin, I can only remove the mark on your body for you. You still need to remove the mark of the hoof of the sky dragon in your mind. If you can't remove the mark from your mind, it's useless to remove the mark on your body. Lin said to Boa Hancock, I am a pirate, and the heart of a pirate will not be bound. Boa Hancock smiled confidently. Don't worry, Lord Lin, we will no longer be affected by the mark of the hoof of the sky dragon. Sandersonia wiped her tears and assured Lin, today is a good day, Lin, let your crew come to the 9 Snakes Pirates ship to have a party together. Boa Hancock looked up at the man and suddenly said to Lin. Her 2 sisters were also surprised at this time. Like the 9 Snakes Island, the pirate ship of the 9 Snakes Pirates does not allow men to come on board. If someone else said this, Sandersonia and Marigold would definitely stop them. But the person who said this was her elder sister, so they naturally agreed. I'll wake them up and let them prepare for the party. Sandersonia saw her sister Marigold still standing here stupidly, so she pulled Marigold out, leaving only Lin and Boa Hancock here. Sister Sandersonia, isn't it inappropriate for Lin and elder sister to be in the same room? Marigold was very worried. Lin's ability can restrain the sweet fruit of his elder sister. Wouldn't it be bad if he attacked his elder sister? You are still young, you don't know anything. Sandersonia rolled her eyes at her wooden sister, and she woke up the members of the 9 Snakes Pirates to prepare for the banquet. Although the members of the 9 Snakes Pirates didn't know what happened, since this was Boa Hancock's order, they would naturally execute it. The 9 snakes are located in the doldrums, and their diet is very unique. Especially their sumo hot pot, which made Baby 5 and others eat very well. After a night of revelry, Lin and others have followed the sea current to the location of the Drum Kingdom. The Drum Kingdom is small in area, but because of its extremely advanced medical technology, it has become a medical powerhouse in the Grand Line. What Lin is going to do may cause turmoil in the Drum Kingdom. Boa Hancock is one of the 7 warlords of the sea, and she is not suitable to stay here. It is here that the 9 Snakes Pirates and the Lin Pirates separated. The king of the Drum Kingdom is Wapol, the swallow fruit ability user. Wapol is a weirdo. The Drum Kingdom is obviously his kingdom, but he has carried out various suicidal operations on the Drum Kingdom. Wapol has been ruling the country tyrannically, thinking about what laws should be made every day, and controlling the people with strict means. Such a tyrant can also be ranked in the Grand Line. Pirates are coming. When the ship of the Lin Pirates appeared at the port of the Drum Kingdom, Lin heard the warnings of the soldiers at the port. But these soldiers just fled in panic, and only a few shells were fired. This kind of powerful attack could not do anything to Lin and his team. After sailing on the sea for so long, this is the first time I feel like a bad guy. Guina looked at the soldiers guarding the country, and she suddenly had a very absurd feeling. At this time, the soldiers who fought bravely were decent people, and they were the evil villains who invaded other countries. What is justice? What is evil? How can such a thing be explained clearly? Lin En swung a slash to intercept the shells, and he said to Kuina. The ship of Lin En's pirate group did not slow down at all, and they docked at the port of the Drum Kingdom forcefully. Nico, Robin, you and Kuina guard our ship and don't let the soldiers of the Drum Kingdom destroy our ship. Reiju, you let the 3 armored soldiers go into the water to cut off the possibility of Wapol escaping in the submarine. Baby5, you and I will go to the Drum Kingdom together. As soon as the ship docked at the port, Lin assigned tasks to several people. King Wapol, the Lin pirates are coming to attack us, and the leader is the pirate Lin with a bounty of 1 billion berries. In the palace of the Drum Kingdom, Dalton, the captain of the Drum Kingdom Guard, hurried in to report to Wapol. A bounty of 1 billion. How could such a big pirate come to attack my Drum Kingdom? Wapol was still chewing a piece of iron. When he heard Dalton's words, he was so scared that his cylindrical chin cast in iron fell to the ground. Dalton, you must hold on. At least before I leave safely, you must ensure that Lin does not break into the palace. As Wapol said this, he began to prepare to run away. King Wapol, you are the king of the Drum Kingdom. Now that the pirates are attacking, shouldn't you stay to protect your people? Dalton watched Wapol's operation, and he clenched his fists in anger. Pirates can only rob the Drum Kingdom, and they can't take this island away. I just need to wait for the pirates to leave and then come back. My life is much more valuable than those civilians. You want me to face danger with those civilians. Is there anything wrong with your brain, Dalton? Wapol sarcastically said to Dalton mercilessly, and then he ran away quickly. Seeing the obese Wapol running at a speed that was seriously inconsistent with his body size, Dalton's eyes were full of disappointment. More than 10 years ago, in order to repay the kindness of Wapol's father, Dalton joined the Drum Kingdom and became the captain of the Drum Kingdom's guard. He once hoped that Wapol would become better one day, and become a good king like the previous king. Seeing Wapol's irresponsible side, Dalton understood that people like Wapol could not change. Captain Dalton, King Wapol has escaped, what should we do? Looking at Wapol's hasty escape, the subordinates asked Dalton. The Drum Kingdom is our home, what else can we do? Of course, we must protect our home. Dalton pulled out the shovel-like weapon behind him and said to the soldiers. Hearing Dalton's words, the soldiers who were still confused suddenly became firm. Captain Dalton, Lin is almost at the palace. A soldier with a telescope ran in and reported to Dalton. As expected of a pirate with a bounty of 1 billion baileys, he is so fast. A stern look flashed in Dalton's eyes. How many people from the Lin pirates have come? Dalton took a deep breath, and his mood had stabilized. There is only Lin and a woman. The soldier hesitated for a moment, and then he reported to Dalton. It is a shame for our Drum Kingdom to be invaded by just 2 pirates. Dalton gritted his teeth, and he felt unprecedented anger. Captain Dalton, it's not that we don't resist, it's just that the man named Lin is too weird. The soldier recalled the scene of their fight with Lin, and he felt a sense of fear. The man obviously didn't make a move, but all the soldiers who approached him and wanted to attack him fell into a coma. Let's go, let me see how strong this man is. Dalton clenched his weapon in his hand, and he strode towards Lin. Lin, the strength of the Drum Kingdom is too weak. We are almost at the palace, but we still haven't encountered any resistance. Baby 5 tightened her cotton coat and said to Lin. You can't say that the Drum Kingdom is too weak, you can only say that my power is too strong. Lin En looked at the snowy scene around him and said to Baby 5. With his growing strength, ordinary people are no longer a threat to Lin En. It's just that the Lin En pirates have been playing high-end games, which made Baby 5 have the illusion that the Lin En pirates are just ordinary pirates on this sea. Pirates, stop. Lin En and Baby 5 just flew up the cliff, and a minotaur swung a shovel at Lin En. Lin En stretched out 3 fingers to clamp the shovel, and no matter how hard the minotaur tried, the shovel didn't move. Are you Dalton? Lin En didn't recognize the man, but he recognized the man's devil fruit. Dalton is an animal-type bull fruit bison form ability user. I didn't expect him to become the guard of the Drum Kingdom so early. Lin En's figure teleported directly behind Dalton, and he knocked Dalton unconscious with a light tap. As for the guards following Dalton, they had already been stunned by Lin En's domineering aura. Wapol ran away. It seems we came here in vain. Baby 5 looked at the empty palace and said to Lin. Wapol not only ran away, but he also looted all the treasures in the palace. He didn't run far. Lin's eyes were fixed on the monitoring Den Den Mushi in the corner, and he smiled at the monitoring Den Den Mushi. Wapol, I will catch you, Lin said to the monitoring Den Den Mushi. Have I been discovered? In the White Iron King, Wapol looked at Lin through the monitoring Den Den Mushi. What if he was discovered? I'm in the sea. Can he still enter the sea and catch me? Wapol felt a panic at first, and then he calmed down again. The White Iron King is his masterpiece. This ship has the functions of diving and transformation. It can move underwater on weekdays, and after floating on the surface, it can change into different shapes according to different requirements. Lin is a devil fruit ability user. What can he do with himself in the sea? Ha ha ha, come and catch me, Lin. Wapol opened his bloody mouth and swallowed the Den Den Mushi monitor and the table in one gulp. Strange, how come the fish that just swam over looks so much like a human? When Wapol was arrogant, he accidentally caught a glimpse of a black figure from the corner of his eye. However, this is already 100 meters from the sea surface. How could there be someone here? Wapol thought he was dazzled. The armored soldiers found a suspicious ship sailing out from the bottom of the Drum Kingdom. On the ship of the Lin pirates, Reiju told Lin this information. Let the armored soldiers catch Wapol for me. Wapol is a capable person, don't let him drown, Lin said directly to Reiju. After Reiju received Lin's order, she, Kuina and Nico Robin drove the ship to the top of Wapol. The other two armored soldiers also approached Wapol's White Iron King from the bottom of the sea. Isn't this the armor that is popular in the sea? How can the armor appear here? As the other two armors approached Wapol, Wapol finally saw that this was not a fish, but an armor. Boom! Wapol felt the hull tremble violently. Before he could figure out what was happening, rockets blew huge holes in the White Iron King one after another. Lord Wapol, the cabin is flooded. The subordinates shouted at Wapol in panic. Float up quickly. Wapol was so anxious that he jumped up and down. He was a devil fruit user. Once the White Iron King sank to the bottom of the sea, some of his subordinates might be lucky enough to float to the surface and be rescued, but he would never be able to. Before the White Iron King moved, Wapol saw a fist mark on the iron sheet above his head, and then two metal gloves stretched out. The deck of the ship was torn apart by Germa's soldiers out of thin air. A large amount of seawater instantly submerged the ship, and Wapol was directly flooded by the seawater and lost his mind. Two armors found him and headed for the sea at a very fast speed. Is he Wapol? He looks like a hippopotamus. Wapol was awakened by a burst of discussion. When he opened his eyes, he saw 4 beautiful girls surrounding him. Where am I? Am I dead? Wapol looked at the scene in front of him and murmured. Of course you are not dead. Now you are a prisoner of our Lin pirates. Reiju looked at Wapol in front of her, and a playful smile appeared on her face. Lin pirates, prisoners. Wapol thought for a long time before he finally connected the things before he fell into a coma. He finally did not escape Lin's clutches and was caught by Lin. Pirates, as long as you don't hurt me, I can give you anything, even the throne of the Drum Kingdom. Wapol is a very discerning person. After realizing his situation, he begged for mercy immediately. I want you, not the throne of the Drum Kingdom. Lin En looked at Wapol, and he stretched out his hand and took out Wapol's heart. Baby 5 and Reiju had seen Lin En's method, so they were not surprised, but Kuina and Nico Robin saw Lin En's method for the first time. A transparent hole appeared on Wapol's chest, but no blood flowed. And Wapol was still breathing, he was not dead yet. Now your life depends on my thoughts, if you don't cooperate with me. As Lin En said, he squeezed Wapol's heart hard. Bull's heart, Wapol, who finally woke up again, rolled on the ground in pain. Wapol began to use his ability in front of Lin, but to Lin's surprise, Wapol was too useless. He could only use the swallow fruit to eat and reassemble. Lin tried to teach Wapol the correct way to develop the swallow fruit, but Wapol couldn't learn it at all. But the swallow fruit was too buggy, and even Lin didn't want to give up this fruit. Room transplant. Lin first exchanged Wapol's soul with a Germa clone soldier, and then Lin exchanged with the Germa clone soldier into Wapol's body. After Lin entered Wapol's body, he found that Wapol's physique was not weak. Even because he swallowed too much metal, his bones and body were quite strong. This body is too bloated. Lin looked down at Wapol's body, and he opened his mouth and swallowed his body directly. Lin, how could you swallow yourself? Baby 5 couldn't help but exclaimed when she saw this outrageous scene. Lin could swallow himself. This wave of Lin's operation was really amazing. The next moment, a muscular man with streamlined muscles, Wapol, appeared in front of them. The swallow fruit is also a devil fruit that has absolute control over his body. Lin's guess is correct. The swallow fruit can swallow anything. This allows Wapol to absorb the swallowed things into his body and become a part of his body. Lin found that Wapol's internal organs can be 100% strengthened by the swallowed things. Although Lin has accelerated his intestinal peristalsis through the surgery fruit, and even mastered the hormone fruit to increase endocrine and accelerate nutrient absorption, the absorption of energy is still not as good as the swallow fruit. The swallow fruit not only has a stomach like a bottomless pit, but all his cells seem to be bottomless pits that can swallow energy infinitely. No wonder Blackbeard Marshal D. Teach later raided the Drum Kingdom. The ability of the swallow fruit is really too abnormal. This fruit is too strong, and Lin En doesn't want to give up. Is there any way to occupy Wapol's body permanently? This idea suddenly appeared in Lin En's mind. At this time, Lin En was no longer satisfied with relying solely on Wapol's swallow fruit to get inspiration for developing the operation fruit. After experiencing the ability of the swallow fruit, he suddenly had a bold idea that perhaps he could become a multi-powered person because of this. It is also very simple to achieve this method, as long as Lin En can control 2 bodies at the same time. But Lin En only has 1 soul now, and if he wants to do this, he needs to split his soul. In this sea, there are only 3 devil fruits related to the soul. Brooke's yellow spring fruit, Charlotte Lin's soul fruit, and Perona's soul fruit. The yellow spring fruit is a devil fruit that can revive the ability user, which has nothing to do with Lin En's research. The soul fruit can give souls to inanimate objects, and can also easily seize the souls and lifespans of others and freely control the soul. Charlotte Ling also split her soul to create homies. According to Lin's guess, perhaps this fruit can also split her soul. The Ling fruit can split ghosts. Lin doesn't know if these ghosts are the split bodies of Perona's own soul. If he can make Wapol a part of himself, Lin will have abilities similar to Vegapunk. In order to cope with the complicated research and huge workload, Vegapunk created 6 clones to help him complete various tasks. The highest authority of the world government, IM, is suspected to have similar abilities. The abilities of the 5 elders were given by him. If Lin can realize his ideas, he can also have multiple abilities. In addition to solving the ability to split the soul, Lin also has to solve the drawback of transplantation. The steps of exchanging bodies are too cumbersome. Lin needs to find a way to extract the soul directly. Perhaps the song fruit can be used to keep the soul of the ability user in the illusion of the song fruit forever, and Lin directly takes over an empty body. But this is all later. If you want to make Wapol your clone, then Lin En must first clean up the chaos in the Drum Kingdom. Lin En killed the body of the Germa soldier casually, and Wapol's soul dissipated. Lin En waited in Wapol's body for a long time, and he did not find that the ability of the swallow fruit disappeared, which means that it was the body, not the soul, that ate the devil fruit. Captain Lin En, since you are Wapol now, what should you do with your original body? Nicole Robin asked Lin En. Lin En's method of developing the fruit ability is too good. Even though she is a scholar, she has never heard of such a bold development method. How to deal with it? Of course, you have to carry it close to your body. Lin En opened his bloody mouth and swallowed his body with the soul of the Germa soldier directly. Let's go, let's rest in the Drum Kingdom. Looking at the snow-covered island, Lin En said to the women. Too crazy, this is the first time I've seen a devil fruit ability that can steal a country so easily. Reiju looked at Lin's majestic body and murmured in a low voice. Lin can replace Wapol, so he can replace any king. This is not imitation, this is a real complete replacement. Once Lin completes this step, there is no way to tell. Citizens of the Drum Kingdom, your king is back. Lin manipulated Wapol's body and laughed, and the entire Drum Kingdom was shaken. It's great that you're okay, King Wapol. The soldiers who were stunned by Lin's domineering aura were awakened, and looking at Wapol in front of them, they didn't have much joy on their faces. Obviously, their thoughts and words were very different. Why is he back, and where are those pirates? Dalton also heard the news, and he rushed towards the port. Soon, he saw Wapol. Just a glance, Dalton felt a chill. She didn't notice anything unusual about Wapol, but she recognized Baby 5 behind Wapol. They were pirates, but now they were following Wapol. What was even more bizarre was that none of the people who had escaped with Wapol were seen, and even the White Iron King that he had spent a lot of money to build didn't show up. Dalton knew Wapol very well, and he would never cooperate with pirates. These pirates kidnapped Wapol. What are they going to do to the Drum Kingdom? Dalton frowned. His eyes, all this before was beyond his understanding. Dalton wanted to expose it directly, but he recalled the scene when Lin En broke through the Drum Kingdom alone. Although he didn't see where Lin En was, since the members of Lin En's pirate group were here, Lin En must be nearby. It was easy to expose Wapol, but the Drum Kingdom could not face the massacre of pirates. You are finally back, King Wapol. Dalton had no choice but to continue acting with Wapol. Lin En finally came to the palace of the Drum Kingdom smoothly. The next day, something strange happened to Dalton. Wapol abolished all the strange and absurd orders he had issued before. In addition, he actually took out all the treasures in his palace to develop medicine. Wapol actually wanted to gather all the doctors in the Drum Kingdom together to build a huge medical school, and each doctor would serve in the corresponding department according to his own field of expertise. Aren't pirates for money? They didn't take away all the treasures of the Drum Kingdom and actually wanted to build the Drum Kingdom. This was the first time Dalton had heard of such pirates in his life. Even Wapol took action himself. He devoured a lot of metal, soil and stone, and this huge medical school was built overnight. The walls of this building are made of thick clay, which makes this hospital very warm in an island like the Drum Kingdom with a year-round winter. The embellishment of rocks and logs makes this hospital look very high-end. This huge medical school is not only the largest building in the Drum Kingdom, but also the most magnificent building. In addition to this order, Dalton also received a task. He had to invite Dr. Kuleha, the most skilled doctor in the Drum Kingdom, to become the dean of the medical school. Dalton was happy to go for this task. Now Dalton has no hostility towards those pirates. Wapol made the country a mess, while those pirates put the Drum Kingdom on the right track. Why would Lin attack the Drum Kingdom? Didn't Boa Hancock go to kill Lin? At the Navy headquarters, Sengoku didn't expect to hear about Lin again under such circumstances. The world government noticed the changes in the Drum Kingdom, and they also found the ship of the Lin pirates staying in the Drum Kingdom. The intelligence clearly said that Boa Hancock led the Nine Snakes pirates to meet the Lin pirates, so how could the Lin pirates attack the Nine Snakes pirates? Sengoku knew Boa Hancock's strength. She was at the monster level in terms of both physical skills and devil fruits. Not to mention the first half of the Grand Line, even the new world full of monsters could have her place. Even she couldn't stop Lin. Suru, help me ask the world government, what happened between Boa Hancock and Lin? Sengoku said to the Chief of Staff, Vice Admiral Suru. Vice Admiral Suru was also very curious about what happened last night, so she called the world government. What? How could such a thing happen? After Vice Admiral Suru made the call, her tone was a little surprised. Sengoku, the World Government Intelligence Agency said that Lin En boarded Boa Hancock's ship and spent the night on Boa Hancock's ship. Vice Admiral Suru finally finished telling the complete information, and Sengoku's face showed the same unbelievable expression as hers. What kind of charm does Lin En have that she can take down Boa Hancock as soon as they meet? This also explains why Boa Hancock did not send back the battle report. Sengoku felt that things should not be as simple as they seemed. It is very likely that Lin En and Boa Hancock have reached some agreement in secret. Only in this way can Boa Hancock cover up for Lin En so much. Sure enough, pirates cannot be trusted at all, even the 7 warlords of the sea. No matter what happened between Lin En and Boa Hancock, it would not affect the civilians on the sea. But it would be different if Lin En occupied the Drum Kingdom. Almost all the civilians in the Drum Kingdom would be threatened by Lin En. What did the Lin En pirates do to the Drum Kingdom? The scene of the Drum Kingdom being burned down by the Lin En pirates appeared in Zhang Guo's mind. They are suspected of controlling the king of the Drum Kingdom, Wapol. Wapol used all the wealth of the Drum Kingdom to build hospitals and improve the people's livelihood in the Drum Kingdom. Vice Admiral Suru read out the information she got from the intelligence agency. Wait, what did you say? The Lin En pirates did not plunder, but they were actually building the Drum Kingdom. Hearing this, Zhang Guo felt it was ridiculous. He had also heard of Wapol, a tyrant who did not treat his citizens as his subjects. Now the pirates actually coerced Wapol to build for the Drum Kingdom. What kind of operation is this? Zhang Guo has been fighting on the sea for more than 40 years, and this is the first time Zhang Guo has heard of such a pirate group. I thought I was wrong, but that's what the intelligence said. The Lin pirates not only helped the Drum Kingdom with domestic construction, but his crew also helped the Drum Kingdom resist the invasion of pirates. The swordsman named Kuina has destroyed 3 pirate ships. Vice Admiral Suru looked at the intelligence and said to Sengoku, Lin, this person is really hard to see through. Sengoku frowned. The armors made by Lin are revolutionary weapons that can subvert the pattern of the sea. With the armor manufacturing technology, Germa instantly became one of the most powerful countries in the world. Some time ago, when Lin was fighting with Hina to rescue Nicole Robin, he revealed another amazing news. Lin suspected that he had the means to control the destruction of armor. At that time, the crew member named Baby 5 on Lin's ship just pointed lightly, and the 2 armors equipped by the Navy exploded instantly, and the 2 brigadiers were seriously injured and unconscious. According to Vegapunk's guess, there must be a backdoor in these armors that can be controlled by Lin. The world government asked Vegapunk to develop a super weapon exclusively for the world government based on the armor, and Vegapunk has already started related projects. Sengoku also made a request to the generals equipped with armor, that they must not wear armor when dealing with Germa or Lin. First he escaped from Garp's hands, then he defeated Crocodile, one of the 7 warlords of the sea, and now he has overthrown the Drum Kingdom. Lin has been out to sea for less than a week. As he continues to sail, who knows what earth-shattering things he will do. Lieutenant General Suru also felt that Lin was very difficult. If you want to completely eliminate Lin, you must let the general take action. Sengoku clenched his fists, and at this moment, Sengoku felt that Lin was no less threatening than those pirate emperors. We can no longer give Lin the opportunity to grow, and we must eliminate him as soon as possible. There are no more than 5 people in the entire Navy who can meet this requirement. Among these 5 people, Sengoku has to deal with affairs in Marineford, and it is impossible for him to take action with just Lin. Garp, who is as powerful as him, educates his grandson in the East China Sea. Shanks stayed in Windmill Village for a year, and Luffy's worldview was completely led astray by Shanks. Borsalino is still chasing Fisher Tiger, who set fire to Marihoa. According to the information he sent back yesterday, Tiger was seriously injured by Strawberry on Forsat Island. Unfortunately, Sea Knight Jinbei rescued Tiger in the end, and now it is unknown whether Tiger is dead or not. Before the Marihoa arson case is concluded, Borsalino has no time to carry out new tasks. Sakazuki and Kuzan took turns to defend Marihoa. Now Sakazuki was defending Marihoa, and he couldn't leave Marihoa. The only person who was suitable for this task was Kuzan. Kuzan was a natural type ice freezing fruit user with strong strength, and was a student of Black Arm Zephyr. He, Sakazuki, and Borsalino were all called monsters in the Navy. If it was Kuzan, Lin En would not be able to escape his freezing. Vice Admiral Suru agreed with Sengoku's choice. Soon, the Navy's order was passed to Kuzan. It's Lin En again. I didn't expect Lin En to do such an interesting thing. After Kuzan received the Navy's order to deal with Lin En, he began to check all the information about Lin En. Kuzan had never seen a pirate as strange as Lin En, and he was curious about Lin En. I know, leave Lin En to me. Kuzan packed up the information about Lin En, and he rode his bicycle towards the direction of the Drum Kingdom. This is clearly the sea, but there is a small strip of solid ice where Kuzan's wheels roll over. Kuzan knew that numbers would be useless against Lin's armor, so he did not bring any navy with him. He planned to carry out this mission alone. Lin En had no idea of the upcoming danger. Lin En was still developing the swallow fruit. After a few days of studying the characteristics of the swallow fruit, he had an idea about energy storage. In addition, Lin En also modified his current body. Through the continuous fusion of the swallowed metal, Lin En obtained a metal with the highest hardness and ductility. According to Lin En's test, the hardness of these metals is not less than sea stone. Under the power of the swallow fruit, Lin En directly used the swallow fruit to fuse with his entire body of bones. I can be regarded as the Wolverine of the pirate world. Lin En gently tapped the metal claws that popped out from his wrist, and he smiled with satisfaction. In terms of physical strength alone, this body has surpassed his original body. Compared with the original body, this body can be regarded as a real transformation. In terms of physique alone, Lin En may now be comparable to Kaido with steel bones and Charlotte Linlin with steel balloons. When Lin En creates terrifying metals like vibranium alloy, he will surpass Kaido and become the strongest single-player creature on land, sea and air. After Wapol's training came to an end, Lin En returned to his original body again. Captain Lin En, I haven't seen your original body for a long time. Lin En walked out of the secret room, and Nicole Robin, who was working outside, greeted Lin En. When Lin En was in seclusion, Nicole Robin handled all the affairs of the Drum Kingdom independently. Facts have proved that Nicole Robin is indeed a talent. Lin En only set a rough framework, and Nicole Robin can handle all the government affairs of the Drum Kingdom. Although the area of the Drum Kingdom is not large, Nicole Robin has been quite remarkable to achieve this step. What is the situation in the Drum Kingdom recently? Lin En took the drink handed by Nicole Robin and asked Nicole Robin. The effect is very good. Although it has only been less than a week, the number of people who come to the Drum Kingdom for treatment has increased by more than 10 times compared to before. Everyone who comes here is shocked by the huge hospital here. Now the Drum Kingdom has been called the country of medical skills. Nicole Robin focused on introducing the recent situation of the Drum Kingdom to Lin En. The Drum Kingdom is developing very well, and the public's support for Wapol has increased by more than 10 times. In just 1 week, several people who have been cured of their injuries by enjoying free medical treatment have called Wapol a wise ruler comparable to King Cobra of Alabasta. Reiju is now learning medical skills from Dr. Kurha, and Baby 5 and Kuina are fighting pirates along the periphery of the Drum Kingdom. The reputation of the Drum Kingdom began to rise, and those greedy pirates swarmed in like sharks smelling blood. Captain Lin, this is the medical information you want. When Nicole Robin saw Lin finished his contemplation, 2 hands suddenly grew out of the table and held a box in front of Lin. You are so reliable, Robin. Lin picked up a few documents and flipped through them, and his eyes showed joy. These documents are all about the structure of the human body and experimental conjectures, which are all the information Lin needs. It's good that these materials are useful to you, Captain Lin. Hearing Lin's words, Nicole Robin smiled. Nicole Robin saw Lin enter the secret room with the information, and Nicole Robin stretched and stood up. The Drum Kingdom is very small. With Nicole Robin's ability, she can complete the government affairs of the Drum Kingdom in 1 hour. Before Lin came here, it was full of cold and desolate. It has not been long since then, and it is full of bustling scenes. The cold snowflakes and biting cold wind could not affect the smiles on the faces of the residents. Nicole Robin could understand the emotions of the residents, and the name of this emotion was hope. Nicole Robin was about to retract her gaze, when she suddenly saw a man with a big hair, an eye patch on his forehead, and a navy uniform. The moment she saw the man, her pupils couldn't help but shrink tightly. She wouldn't make a mistake, Nicole Robin had complicated feelings for this man. She was one of the murderers who destroyed O'Hara, and he was also her savior. Since this man appeared here, it means that the Navy is going to take action against the Drum Kingdom. Nicole Robin hesitated for a moment. She didn't call Lin En, she chased him out directly. What are you going to do to the Drum Kingdom? When Nicole Robin was about to bypass a wall, the man behind the wall suddenly, Kuzan's voice came, and Nicole Robin's feet stopped suddenly. We want to make the Drum Kingdom better. You should have seen the changes in the Drum Kingdom, right? Nicole Robin answered standing in front of the wall. Although they were separated by a wall, both of them knew that they were face to face at this time. You are pirates. Your purpose of attacking the Drum Kingdom is definitely not that simple. Kuzan didn't believe Nicole Robin's words at all. Then did you find anything unusual? Nicole Robin asked Kuzan again. I just came here. From the current situation, the Drum Kingdom seems to have become better in your hands. But you don't have the final say. I need to know the opinions of the residents of the Drum Kingdom. Kuzan said, and he disappeared from the wall. Kuzan appeared in front of Dalton, the captain of the Drum Kingdom's guard. Dalton was about to return to the palace to report today's situation to Nicole Robin, but he didn't expect a man to suddenly appear in front of him. Judging from the man's dress, he is actually a Navy, and he should be a big shot in the Navy. My name is Kuzan. Dalton, I want to ask you a question. Do you think your King Wapol is still King Wapol now? Now all this may be a prelude to the pirates wanting to use some means of the Drum Kingdom to achieve some evil purpose. Kuzan did not beat around the bush with Dalton, he asked Dalton directly. Dalton has served as the captain of the guard of the Drum Kingdom for many years. He knows the situation of the Drum Kingdom very well, and he has a high prestige among the people. If you want to find out the flaws of the Lin pirates, only Dalton can know something. Can you not check whether Wapol is true or not? Can the residents of our Drum Kingdom not know? Dalton looked at Kuzan and said something that Kuzan didn't expect. Don't you know that Wapol was held hostage by the Lin pirates? The one who held him hostage is a pirate, and a big pirate with a bounty of 1 billion Baileys. Kuzan said again. So what? As long as he can make the residents of the Drum Kingdom live a better life, I will recognize him as the real king of Wapol. Dalton glanced at the residents in the distance who were full of hope for their future life, and he said again. You are the captain of the kingdom's guards, and you are actually begging for the pirates. Do you know what you are doing? Kuzan has understood what Dalton meant, and he feels incredible. Lin En is a pirate who invaded the Drum Kingdom. It has only been a few days, and this captain of the guard has been bribed by Lin En. Leader, I just want to beg you, don't pursue the Lin En pirates anymore, okay? Wapol has been the king of the Drum Kingdom for 5 years, and the Drum Kingdom has been tossed by him for 5 years. The treasure left by the old king is gone, and the doctors have been persecuted and run away. If you capture him, the Drum Kingdom will have to return to the time when it was waiting to die. We don't want to die. I want the Drum Kingdom to live, okay? Dalton looked at Kuzan in front of him, and he said to Kuzan almost begging. Although he had never met Kuzan, he had heard of Kuzan's reputation. A monster in the Navy, he has monster-like power. Such a Navy is definitely not weaker than Lin En. You are a good captain of the guard. Kuzan understood what Dalton meant. He was not begging for himself, but for the Drum Kingdom. He did not accept Lin's benefits, but because Lin could make the Drum Kingdom better, 10 times or 100 times better than in the hands of Wapol, so he pretended to know nothing. Such a person deserves admiration. But Kuzan is a Navy, and Lin is a pirate. Kuzan does not believe that a pirate will help the Drum Kingdom for no reason. Dalton saw that his words could not impress Lin, so he turned into a minotaur and prepared to attack Kuzan. Dalton knew that he was not Kuzan's opponent, but he had to do something for the Drum Kingdom. Before he could shout out, his whole body was frozen into an ice sculpture. General Aokiji, I didn't expect it would be you who came here. When Dalton turned into an ice sculpture, Lin's figure appeared in front of Kuzan. Kuzan also saw Lin, the target person he was going to deal with this time. I'm not an admiral yet, so you can't call me Aokiji yet. Kuzan's eyes flashed with surprise when he heard Lin's words. Kuzan's code name is only known to the top naval officials. He has not yet been promoted to admiral. How did Lin know this news? It seems that Lin is not as simple as he seems on the surface. Perhaps there are hidden forces behind him. But it doesn't matter. As long as he can catch Lin, he can slowly understand all these. Kuzan said as he walked towards Lin. Crack, crack, crack. Ice on the ground began to spread around. Kuzan had used the ability of the ice fruit. Room. Lin saw Kuzan take action, and he teleported directly in front of Kuzan and inserted the bone sword into Kuzan's chest. The sword had just been inserted into Kuzan's chest when an amazing icy wave quickly spread from the bone sword towards Lin. Freezing moment. Half of Kuzan's body was frozen, and he opened his arms to hug Lin. Lin didn't dare to let Kuzan hug him. As long as he was touched by Kuzan, his fate would be no different from Dalton's. Lin let go of the bone sword, and he teleported directly to a distance. Kuzan didn't seem to be surprised at Lin's response. When Lin disappeared from Kuzan's sight, the ice crystals around Kuzan's body froze into spears. Ice Cube 2 Thorn Spears. Lin had just teleported, and he found an ice spear in front of his face. Lin teleported away from here again, and this ice spear was inserted into the ground, and a series of ice spread around with the ice spear as the center. Kuzan used his observation hockey to predict the direction of Lin's teleportation. Before Lin appeared there, Kuzan's ice spear pierced over. Lin also used the surgical space to predict the trajectory of Kuzan's attack, and he finally avoided Kuzan's ice spear. Kuzan is indeed a general-level fighter. Since Lin En fought against the East China Sea Upside-Down Mountain, he has not encountered such a terrifying opponent for a long time. The temperature in the Drum Kingdom is already low enough. Less than half a minute after fighting with Kuzan, the temperature here has dropped by half. It is rare to be able to practice devil fruits, domineering, and physical skills to this level at your age. No wonder you can escape from Vice Admiral Garp. Kuzan praised Lin En. Kuzan joined the Navy in his 20s. At the same age, Lin En could beat 10 of him alone. If Lin En did not have such strength, he might have been defeated by Garp long ago. How could he wait for those armored rescuers to rescue him? Kuzan exhaled a breath of cold air, and the cold air instantly condensed into an ice knife. Lin En has escaped from the Navy once, and he will never. Lin En can't be allowed to escape for the second time. Nicole Robin watched the two people fighting from a distance. She wanted to help, but she couldn't do anything. Don't mention Vice Admiral Garp, you can't leave me behind. Lin En condensed a bone sword in his hand again, and he smiled at Kuzan. Lin En can't beat Kuzan now, but he is still confident that he can escape from Kuzan's hands. The battle between the two began again. Kuzan's freezing ability tends to control. If Lin En is frozen by Kuzan's ice, I'm afraid Lin En will end the battle instantly. This is the third time that Lin En has fought with a natural ability user. Kuzan's ability is the real natural ability. Waving his hand to launch a range attack, this is the real use of the natural fruit. Although Kuzan's attack did not hit Lin En, the continuous low temperature and the ice that keeps condensing on the ground make this place Kuzan's domain. Compared with Kuzan, Smoker's ability is simply weak. If Lin En had not used the armament hockey, perhaps the cold air would have hurt Lin En's skin. In the distance where they were fighting, palms with eyeballs in their palms were growing abruptly on various buildings. These hands were created by Nico Robin using the power of the flower fruit. She had been using the power of the flower fruit to observe the fight between Lin En and Kuzan. Beside Nico Robin, Kuina, Baby 5, and Reiju all returned to the ship. They received the message from Nico Robin's Den Mushi, and they all returned to the ship. After Lin En and Kuzan fought again, the residents who reacted swarmed here. They shouted slogans to fight pirates, but they blocked the road between Lin En and Kuzan. Kuzan, goodbye. Lin En smiled at Kuzan, and he directly used the fruit power to teleport twice and returned to the ship. Lin, you can't escape. Kuzan's figure appeared on the shore, and he released the Ice Age directly to the sea. The white ice surface approached the ship of Lin's pirate group. Even if the ship of Lin's pirate group was 10 times faster, it would not be as fast as the expansion of the ice surface. Elbaf Bagwo. Another person covered in a black cloak appeared beside Lin. The two of them swung their swords together, and a terrifying slash actually stopped Kuzan's ice. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.